Hello, everybody. My name is Lewis Lee, and this is Plan in Traffic. And we do this, like I say, every Thursday night at 9 o'clock. And I almost missed it tonight because Thursday pulled up on me quick. How you doing, Ray?
Good, Lewis, and you do say that every week. I'll back you up on that one. That's 100% right. Yes.
Every Thursday except for holidays.
Very few, yeah, like Thanksgiving and Christmas, and that's about it.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think the last holiday, I think I put on a rerun. So I figured out how to do that.
Okay.
So even on those nights, we'll have something going.
Nice. Good.
Yep. So how'd your week go? What was good on Motormouth this week?
Well, we did a free for all. It was just Chris and I, and we do a little catch up. We caught up on some old stuff. Just the things that we were doing in our own worlds, automotively and all. We like doing that once in a while because we love having the guests on, but unlike this show, we only have an hour, and it's a strict hour. I mean, like this was an hour too, but
yeah,
this had no boundaries. We have a boundary, so we have to make it. It's got to count.
Yeah.
So it's a little tougher. So we were doing a little bit of catch up, and
so Ray, before you jump in, explain to the audience what your show is all about, and invite them to your show, man. Because if you need to know something about something's not working or anything, your show is it.
Well, thank you, Lewis. Motormouth Radio is a terrestrial FM radio show on 90.3 FM in New York. So you won't get it outside. You have to stream it. But we're on iHeart, we're on Spreaker. If you go to our website, motormouthradio.com, there's a link, a couple of different links for how you can get it. And then I put it up on YouTube. So, people can watch it and listen that way. We do put it up on the website too, but we've been behind on that because we lost our web guy. So we got to reinvent that wheel. Mm-hmm. But basically the show it's like this show. It's an automotive talk show from automotive guys. And it was originally started as like a self-help show where guys would call in and ask, hey, I'm working on this or that or whatever. And I had trouble, I don't know how to get this brake caliper off, or how do I lash the valves on my car? Automotive help. But what happened is over the years, when you can work less and less on your own car, guys aren't doing that maintenance anymore because they can't. So we became more of an entertainment show, and we talk about what we do in our shops and garages and stuff. Mm-hmm. And occasionally someone will call and ask, for help on for how to do something, and we'll certainly help them out. And we're guest oriented too. We love having guests, and that fella had Scott Kalecki. I don't know if he reached out to you yet, but I did get back to him. He's anxious to come on this show.
Oh, great.
And talk about he wrote the book about Corvette concept cars, and his new book is just coming out. It's about Camaro concept cars.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be good.
Yeah, so he's hooked up with the Corvette Museum, and now we've done a lot of crossover between this show and that show, and of course we talk about them equally. So, and the audience is merged too, because a lot of guys listen to this, listen to that, and so that's it. We basically talk about anything. If it's got an engine or wheels, or if it's procedural, like something about tools or machining, or how to weld something, or we kind of cover all of it, because we like all of us here, we all do a lot of different things. So,
and it's 12 o'clock every Sunday morning, correct?
That's correct. 12 noon to 1 p.m. And then but a lot of
Eastern.
People outside the area will check it on the stream or go to YouTube, and the Motormouth Video is the channel on YouTube, and then they can watch us like this. Radio, see, they can never see us, so we could always say we had a face for radio.
Mm-hmm.
But now I put it on YouTube, just like this. Now they can see us, and so we can't hide anymore.
Right. So the world's changed with this internet.
Exactly. So that's it in a nutshell.
Good. So SEMA's coming up pretty quick. Are you planning to go?
That's a good question. I haven't made any plans yet. I don't know. Now as life has it, life has all these turns, and now my daughter, who moved down to the Carolinas, she's planning a wedding. So, and she wants to have a baby. So now we're going to be going through all that stuff. So God knows what I'm going to be doing in the months to come. I don't know. But
Hey, you got to do something for you. You're retired.
you're
It's your
right.
time.
I do something for me every day. I do. I make sure of it.
All right.
Yeah, but that's always something that I wanted to do.
Even if you can get out there for 2 days,
Mhm.
I mean, it's an experience. You got to go, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just unbelievable.
I know, and like the Apex show is something I'd like to see. I'd love to see the what's the other one? The other one I think is geared more for me.
PRI.
Yeah, PRI stuff like
Mhm.
that, because I'm a nuts and bolts and mechanical kind of guy. I mean, I
Yeah.
like the other stuff too, but that's really where where I
Well,
come from.
PRI is driving distance for you. I mean,
Yeah,
you be there what 12 hours?
that's up in Detroit.
No, it's Indianapolis.
Oh, Indy. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how far that is, but yeah,
Well, you're 8 hours to me, and it's 5 hours for me to there. So,
I know I'm 6 hours to Toledo.
oh yeah, what I'm talking about? That's not 8. Yeah, 6 hours. Yeah, so you're looking at another 2 hours.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yep. All right, let's
Yeah,
get the fellas in and see what they're talking about tonight.
bring them in, man. We are cast of characters filing in.
What's up, fellas?
What's going on?
So I like
Night.
to apologize. I was playing around in the bus and forgot it was Thursday.
Oh, you're fine.
Nah, no worries.
I was like, oh man, I had to go in and set it up. Yep.
Oh, damn. Brian's got the BFH.
Yeah, got the hammer out. Little hammer time.
Yep. So what's going on with you guys this week?
It's going by quick.
It really does. It's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
it's crazy.
This summer is gone.
Yeah, the whole summer's gone quick.
Yeah, I mean, I had to put a jacket on today. It was chilly.
I
great
thought
today.
about turning the heater on this morning going to work, but no, I didn't do that. It was still low 70s.
So Paul, I see you're trying to do lowrider with 3 wheels. What's going on? You all right?
Physically, I am fine. Thank you for asking. Mentally, no, sir. I am not well. This one took my ego and deflated it back to a very small child.
Hey,
I made a mistake. I made a major mistake. I was distracted. I didn't tighten the wheel. The wheel came off at about 40 miles an hour. It was not good from that point on.
Oh, and that's on your hot rod, Paul? On the
Yes, on the 30. The the car had been down. I did a bunch of maintenance on it. I bought 2 new rear tires for the road trip coming up. I went and had the tires mounted. I came back here. I finished cleaning the wheels up. Came close to polishing them, but they're not polished. They're just real clean. Put one wheel on, tightened it down, put the other wheel on. It was hand tight. It was drawn. All 5 lugs were drawn down tight, but they weren't torqued. And week and a half goes by. Put the front end back together, put the car down on the ground, go for a test drive, and things went south.
Paul, let me commiserate with you. We're gonna hug it out here, because when I was doing the fuel injection conversion on my car, it was laid up for a couple months, and I had it in the garage. And at one point, I pulled the right rear wheel off so I could do some wiring through the chassis, and put the wheel back on, and everything was cool. And then drove the car a few times and brought it to the shop to do something else to it. It just happened to touch the wheel and it moved, and the lugs were loose. And I said, how the hell did that happen? I always torque the lugs down. So I said, okay. And then the studs were spinning in the hub. Either there was a problem with these studs or I didn't tighten the wheel. And I couldn't conceive of the fact that I didn't tighten the wheel. But I think that's really what happened. I just got busy with so many other things, and the car was laid up for a long enough period of time that I didn't do the follow-up and tighten it. And it didn't come off, but I did kind of, screw up the holes in the wheel a little bit. But so far, now I put a breaker bar with a lug wrench in the back of the car. And every time I drive the car and stop, I check those lug nuts. And
Well,
what happens? Yeah, what happens?
Yeah.
I'm very thankful. I can say it out loud here in public across the airwaves. Summit Racing. Thank you, Summit Racing, for having components in stock, open on a Saturday at a very reasonable price. I drove down to Dallas. I got 2 new rear drums because when it happened, I lost the drum.
Okay.
I spent 4 hours looking around that farmer's field. I could not find the drum. I did find my wheel, but I couldn't find the drum. So I ended up buying 2 new drums, some rear hardware, a wheel cylinder, because when all this happened, your initial instinct is to hit the brake.
Right.
There's no drum there. There's nothing there to hold it. Pedal goes to the floor.
Yeah.
And again, I was at 40 miles an hour when this all happened, anywhere between 35 and 40. Luckily, I wasn't going faster. Unfortunately, I wasn't going slower.
Yeah, true.
And
you didn't get hurt, so.
Yeah, that's
my
the key.
ego, my pride, strongly damaged. I hate to say it, but I've now, since that happened and the car's been repaired, it's got an additional 130 miles on it. It's been fantastic. However, I haven't been fantastic driving the car. I'm a little paranoid. I'm sensing every vibration. I'm sensing every rut in the road, every noise, the car around me.
You're doing what I'm doing. It's like I said, every time I stop, I check the lugs. But you're doing the right thing, I think, because it's what I chose to do, and talk about it, and by showing people that, hey, we fuck up. We're human. Things happen. I know I can backtrack and understand how this happened. It was a mistake. I didn't get luckily.
Sometimes these things happen for a reason, and this was your reset. So now your mind is reset to the safety of everything.
That is very, very, very true. Again, my pride, my ego, it's damaged. I take a lot of pride in the fact that I don't have customers come back with problems. I thoroughly go over my own work, and then on my own car, I do something as stupid as leave the wheel lugs loose and cause a bunch of damage.
But again, like I said, it's a reset because you still needed a kick in the ass.
Yep.
So don't beat yourself up over it. It happens. And, it's like today I was pulling out of a shop and I looked down. As I was looking to see if I could pull, I looked down and I see a lug nut in the road leaving this gas station, And my thought is that the first one falling off or is that the last one falling off?
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
so
again, the car seems to be pretty good. I like the way the new brakes feel.
At least the wheel didn't cover
every situation on the car though, and we're getting ready to do close to 3,000 miles in it.
Yeah,
this is going to be an intense road trip.
Right.
Well, at least the wheel didn't come off and cave in a car door from another car.
Yeah.
No, sir.
Or it didn't turn into like that video of that Kia where he ran over the truck tire on the highway and the car.
Yeah.
It launched.
It launched that thing.
So I'm gonna tell you a story. One of my when I was repoing, I got new tires put on the back of my tow truck, dually. So I got a car on the back, and I got one of my drivers following me, and we're coming down the freeway, and he pulls up on the side of me, and he's pointing, right? And I'm like, what is he pointing at? So I look in my mirror, and I see my beauty ring fly off. Bling. And I was like, oh, that don't seem good. You know, it was the simulator. So then the whole car or the whole truck drops like this, right? Now my front end's up off the ground, and I see my wheels rolling by, dualies, right? And they're going two different ways. One goes over the freeway, and it's going. I was like, oh, it's going to kill somebody. Luckily, it fell. The other wheel we never found. I don't know where it went. And I was thinking, oh, now the car is going to fall off the lift because I'm dragging it on the ground, right? So luckily, the truck just eased over on the side of the road and stopped just before it hit poles on the freeway.
Yeah.
God was driving after that because I couldn't steer, I couldn't stop. My wheels were going down the street.
I bet you were lucky.
I know that feeling of not being able to steer, not being able to stop.
It's terrible.
At least you had a dual master cylinder on it, right?
Yeah.
Yes, but the pedal still went to the floor. I was able to control the car to some degree, but I still went into a ditch. I still folded both the rear fenders. I caved in the back of the car. It is what it is, and the damage is there, and it's going to show the entire trip. Oh well.
Yeah, you're good, man. God wanted you around a little longer, so you know what I mean?
Well, this is true. Like I said, it happened at about 35 to 40 miles an hour, not at 65, 70, 75 miles an hour. There is no nothing in this car that's going to save you in the event of something happening.
Yeah. So, you know, the takeaway is it happened. You move forward.
Yep.
You learn. And hopefully, I think the same thing about my mishap. Hopefully, it's not a sign that old age is setting in and I'm really slipping. I don't think that's the case. I think it was just a matter of, go on, Tyler, laugh all you want.
Yeah, you didn't pull a Biden.
Right. I hope that, or a, what's his name? The other McConnell. But I have
the least amount of grays on the screen right now.
Yeah, you do. It was an isolated incident, and we move forward, and we be twice as diligent the next time, and it is what it is.
Yep.
If we keep doing it, then we reach for a lifeline to get help, and then check into the facility.
Huh? Yeah. What are we talking about?
Oh, I forgot. I don't know.
What's going on, Tyler? What's good with you?
Not much. Just got done putting a new PCM connector on a G8.
Yeah.
It's got one of those. I forget what they're called. It's got the lever, and it's got the dogs that pulls the connector down as you swing the lever.
I like those.
Yeah, they're usually really nice until someone doesn't pay attention when you put it together, and they try to force it on, and the lever breaks the little pin off the slider, so that the slider don't move with the lever anymore.
Yeah,
so
they don't seat the connector firmly before they move the right. I've worked on a few cars that were like that.
Yep. So and then of course you can't buy little PC parts.
No.
So I had to buy the whole connector and swap all 68 wires one by one.
Right. To say Brian's giving you a run for your money these days. Brian, show him your little endeavor there with the with your shopping.
Oh. I went down that rabbit hole.
You needed 2 fittings.
I was looking for fittings and like I couldn't stop.
3. Yeah.
And then of course I was really upset because I was like, because halfway through, this is why I like to have a book with all the fittings so that you can look instead of going from page to page to page. Because then I would have just done this. I would have just gotten the A&M fitting that goes into a 1/2-inch hose and run this down to the fuel pump, and I would have been done.
Sure.
Yeah.
Instead of, I got hose, I've got fittings. So
sorry, Amazon returns are easy these days.
So
I got something.
I'll just walk into Summit and say this is what I need.
Well, that actually I'm glad that we are all here because I have a question to ask about my vent tube for the gas tank. And I haven't been able to find a good, clear, because some people say you don't need it. Don't worry about it. And then, of course, the vent tube for the gas is so small. It's a small hose. So I got to, and of course, on the fuel cell, it does have a space where it says rollover valve or vent tube, right? But it's an AN8. So how? I mean, do I have to adapt this down to that small of a hose, or what should I do?
You don't need a very big vent.
Huh?
No, you don't. I'm surprised that with the fuel injected car, it was a vented system.
You still need a vent. You still need to equalize the pressures in the tank. It needs to have breathe to the atmosphere.
Yeah, but the non-vented systems that are called non-vented vent in the tank. It does it through the tank.
Yeah, that's a pretty sophisticated, elaborate airline system. It still allows air in. It's just lets the same amount of air in as the volume of fuel leaving.
Because I don't have a picture of it, but there is, like I said, on my old tank, there was a very small, it was probably
about 3/16.
Yeah, it was like Paul would know this, but this is one of the German vacuum line.
Yeah.
And that's like the size it was.
Yeah.
And it goes over and it has a dash pod and a check valve. And then I guess it circulates it back around. That's all in the trunk. And I was like, well, that'd be great if I could hook it up, but I'm still going back and forth. I don't want to have a problem pressure-wise, I guess. But
you just need to vent outside of the area. You can't be in the confined area like the trunk, or it has to be able to vent to atmosphere. And you want it to have a little bit of a loop in it, and just go with it. Number 8's fine. I mean, it is overkill, but it's fine because it's got the check valve. It's not going to allow fuel to come back out. It only allows air to go back in.
Yeah. So that was really about it, because other than that, I got everything mounted and I'm playing around. I got and like I said, I just needed a couple of fittings, and I ended up with.
Now, what car are you working on?
This is on the Quattro.
Okay.
This is on my Audi. So now I think I have enough. Maybe after I get the Quattro running and driving, maybe I'll get the Scout up and running too, because the Scout's got the same issue.
How about that Mustang you got?
It's coming.
Yeah.
The mythic Mustang.
It's coming.
All right.
Don't worry, boys. It's coming. So
we're gonna stay on you.
Brian's getting warmed up.
I got
This one will be finished before your Mustang is.
Well,
what is that? What is it, Paul?
That's the car that was started to be built for the 2020 build-off, drive-off that was never completed.
Yeah. Are they going to fire that back up and try to get it going again, or?
I don't know. I'm sure that within the next 2 weeks, there's going to be some kind of rumors going around about something for 2024. Mm-hmm. These are the rumors or kind of understandings the way I know it right now. Number one is basically starting today and tomorrow is the start of the High Plains Riot and the kickoff show that is going to be leading up to the Rat Rod Magazine tour throughout the United States to end in Illinois, wherever it ends. This coming up weekend, September 8th and 9th, is also the Jimmy Smooth Rat Ride show. So the way I understand it is in 2024, the Rat Rod tour or the Rat Rod show at the saloon in Illinois that will always be the home for the show now, the way it's been worked out. They've moved the date later into September, so it doesn't conflict with Jimmy's show. they're playing nice with Jimmy, or Jimmy's playing nice. However, the politics work, I don't care. Not my business. But they work something out so there's no more conflict on that weekend. But what Jerry announced sometime back, 6-7 weeks back, was if y'all want to go, jump on the 2023 Rat Rod Tour, because they're not doing a Rat Rod Tour in 2024, that something else is going to be announced. So I don't know if they're going to do a build-off, if they're going to do this. I mean, there's too much speculation. People can think whatever the hell they want. But I'm willing to bet that after the tour, there will be some announcements made. Or maybe even be made while on the tour. Or maybe they're looking for opinions for next year. I don't know.
Right. All right.
But it's for those that are into that lifestyle of car, it's going to be very interesting to watch and follow over the next 2 weeks. I think that there's some groundbreaking history in that subculture, and it's coming on strong. That what used to be almost a rebellious, unwanted crowd at a car show is now the featured events at car shows.
Yeah. They've came a long way. My wife loves them. One day when I grow up, I'm going to have to build her one.
A rat bus.
Yeah, rat bus.
Rat bus.
It might go that way still. I need some parts.
Okay, you all say rat bus. Has anybody seen the videos of Jason Blisner's school bus?
No.
Is that the wheelie one?
No, it's the Detroit. It may not be a Detroit diesel, but it's a diesel engine, front engine, chop top school bus. I can't do it because I'll lose you if I try doing it to bring it up. Google Jason Blisner school bus or Jason Blisner school bus burnout. I don't mean to promote any one person.
No,
There's also a video from like 2 years ago with a guy named Marcus. Marcus also has a Model A or a Model AA, like a prison bus with a small block Chevrolet in it and a blower. Chop top. It's been in all kinds of featured magazines. There's a picture of the two buses going down the drag strip side by side.
Ah, cool.
Or videos of it. It's incredible.
That's definitely a rat bus.
How you spelling his last name?
BL.
IESNER.
Did you all find it?
I found it, yeah.
Okay. Look up look up his name plus Jimmy Smooth, and you'll see the most ultimate burnout. I mean, the guy is known for tearing up a set of tires in less than 1,000 miles because he'll smoke the tires down Route 44 right outside of St. Louis.
This thing looks like a prison bus from Mad Max. Holy cow.
Jason's bus or...
Jason's bus, yeah.
No, I think Marcus's bus looks more like a prison bus from Mad Max. Now...
Spell that last name one more time. I went to public school.
Hang on.
I just put a link on the YouTube chat.
Okay.
He's from Illinois.
All right.
Yes, he is. That's how I first met him. Was when I was out in St. Louis.
Yeah, it's called, the bus's name is Yellow Fever. At least that's the article.
Lewis,
Yes.
in the back of your bus, I signed and autographed it.
Yes, you did.
In the back of Jason's bus, almost the same location. It's the same lack of basic words. Tag.
Yeah.
It's my signature with the Northwood High School logo, class of '85.
Class of
Yeah.
'85. Wow.
I took a picture of it. It'll be with us forever.
You're old, man.
What's that? Speak up, Sonny. I can't hear you.
Yeah,
Man,
exactly. Exactly. But that should be me saying that, not you.
Man, I'm older than you, Paul.
It's not the age, it's the mileage.
Depends
right.
how you want to gauge it.
But you only I graduated a year before you, so
Yeah, you guys are old timers.
Yeah, John Habibi. John was a senior member, and then he passed that on to me, unfortunately.
Tyler's catching up to me.
Yeah.
Right. Be knocking on 40 before I know it.
I got shoes that old.
I got underwear that old.
wish I could knock on 40 again. Damn.
I have some incredible memories of my 40th birthday weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Any black and white photos of that, Paul?
Polaroids.
I believe we destroyed all incriminating evidence.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got on the roof of the bus and I put in a skylight and 2 fans. So I'm putting holes in it.
The pop-up
Yeah.
fan.
And I got to say, you made that look real easy.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I was surprised. It went pretty easy.
Cutting them
Usually my
holes.
projects
Yeah.
turn into a headache.
Yeah.
They went pretty good. I put in a small max air fan in the bathroom. It's like a dome, and you can push it up when you cut it on, and you can have it on when it's raining.
Oh, good.
Then I did a 14 by 14 max air fan in the front, like in between the kitchen and the living room, and that pops up, and you can have it on when it's raining too.
Nice.
They're pretty nice. So I
So
think I
you
might.
giving much thought to what your first travels are going to be like? Where you're going to head?
Yeah, I think in February we're gonna go to Florida to a bus convention down there.
Oh, wow, that's soon.
Yeah, Schoolie Swarm.
Well, you're not trying to go to Schoolie Up in like.
I missed it. It was the first week of August.
Oh, okay. I thought it was first week of September.
Yeah, we missed it.
Where in Florida is it?
I think somewhere around Jacksonville.
Okay.
I was gonna say I know it's northern part of the state. I
Yeah.
can't remember if it's over by the Gulf or not though.
Yeah, I think it's up around there. So I'm just gonna putt down there and stop and see some friends on the way. Throw a rock at Brian, and
Well, keep us posted as you get closer and as your trip starts.
yeah. What's nice is down the East Coast, I got a lot of friends. If I break down in between here and there, I think I'll be okay.
I moved to Texas.
Yeah, you blew it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's gonna be our first getaway. We might do a couple little places around here, little campgrounds or something, just to test out things.
Breaker in.
Probably a good idea. Yeah. Shakedown.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely a good shakedown.
but I got all my wiring done. My shore power is all done, so I can plug up and have full juice. I got 12 volt all done and the 120 volt, so we're good there. I think this week I'm gonna try to do the storage box that holds the generator. So I might try to put that in. Just keep knocking stuff off.
Yeah.
Did you make sure the wheels were tight?
I haven't touched the wheels yet.
Okay. Well, make sure they're tight. Make sure nobody else tried to take them off.
Yeah, right. You know, I'm worried someone gonna try to steal a Cadillac converter.
That's very, very possible.
Not on a diesel bus. Come on.
Man, I'm trying to tell you, these fools are stealing it off everything. They stole it off the hot dog mobile.
Oscar Mayer Wienermobile.
Yeah, yeah.
Man.
Is that how you gonna mess with the hot dog machine? You know what I mean? That's like smacking an old lady.
That's sacrilege. Yeah.
They need to whoever did that, they need to whoop him with a big long rod stick.
They need to be whipped with a big old weenie.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that means if they steal off that, they'll steal off anything, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, they've gotten to the point here where the recycling place won't take anything unless you're certified.
Yeah.
You're a certified junk guy. They won't take. You show up with. I mean, it's gotten bad where, like, if somebody takes out an aluminum light post pole, and when it falls, man, there's people trying to cut it up and throw it in the van to get it gone before the county can get to it. You know, or the state. I tell you.
I'll tell you, man.
I slid on ice about 6 years ago and rolled my truck and all kinds of stuff. But I tagged a guardrail and took out a lamppost while that was happening. And I said if I got a bill from the state for the lamppost, I was coming to claim it because I wanted it for a flagpole for front of my house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a school that was redone here, and they put in aluminum bleachers, and one night somebody got them all.
Oh, wow, really?
Wow.
That's a lot of aluminum.
Yep.
That's heavy stuff, too.
So they had to really crack down on these places and the people buying them because, like I said, you know, and I'm a scrap guy. I stop and pick stuff up all the time. I find stuff sitting on the side of the road. I'll pick it up and throw it in my scrap pile. So, I'm not shy. So
Yeah.
I tell you, one night I was coming back from a regional meeting from Annapolis, and I'm coming up through Fort Meade down the road, and I went around, and we had these stupid little circle things in the road, you know. And I come around a circle, and one of those big ass conveyor belts with all the wheels on it that are on the tractor trailers when they unload like a truck.
Yeah.
Had came off of a truck and was laying in the road. And I said, holy crap, that's awesome. And I was in the tool truck, pulled over. It was longer than the 18 feet in my box because I put down the back door and I stuck it, and there was still that much hanging out of the back of the truck. And I'm trying to figure out how to get it because by then I couldn't close the lift gate on the truck, you know?
Yeah.
I fought with that thing. And luckily, I still had all my fingers because every time I grabbed it, the wheels would turn on the rollers, you know? And I was like, man, I can get my fingers caught in this thing. It's going to be nasty. And I messed with that thing for about a half hour trying to get in the truck and couldn't. So finally I got mad, dragged it back out, and I threw it off to the side of the road. And so I got back in the truck. I'm driving down the road, and about a mile down the road, there was a tractor trailer sitting there. And the guy was out walking around the truck, and I slowed down, and I said, is everything all right? And he goes, man, I heard one hell of a noise, and I can't find anything wrong. And I said, yeah, you lost your roller thing. It's back there about a mile and a half.
Wow.
So I was like, man, I'll cut this son of a bitch up because it was all aluminum, you know?
Yeah.
So
that reminds me, when I worked in truck service, every time a truck would come in with a damaged trailer cable, you know, the light cord.
yeah.
Occasionally companies would want the damaged part back, but most often they just say pitch it. And every time I did one and they said pitch it, I'd throw it in my car and take it home. And I probably split and stripped, I don't know, maybe 100 of them things one summer.
Wow.
Just sitting there after dinner watching TV. I had a it wasn't really it was like a futon style sofa, but it wasn't actually a futon. So it had a hard wooden armrest.
Uh-huh.
And I would just sit there with my razor blade and strip the wire by hand while I'm watching TV. And I paid for a whole vacation with scrap copper that way.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I used to. I mean, I still do it, but like I said, I find stuff like that, and but now, like I said, they really question you when you come in with stuff. Or they won't, or if they don't, if like I said, if it looks suspicious, they won't take it because they get inspected or they get checked out.
Hey, I got a question for you guys. I bought these shock, like door shocks,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't come with the hardware.
No.
And
Hardware
so,
store, Ace Hardware has it in the nuts and bolts section. They have a whole bunch of little fastener sections. They have them for windows, doors, screen doors, and everything.
Well, what I did is I found them on Amazon, but it's cheaper to buy the whole set of 2 than to buy the fittings.
Yeah.
So I was going to start doing some fabricating, but I'm gonna go check Ace and see what they got.
Yeah, you can. Or if you take a trip out to a junkyard and get the little ball, because it's just a ball socket.
Mm-hmm.
Go out to take a trip to a junkyard and look around. A lot of your German ones will actually unbolt. They're not welded to the car or whatever. They're actually bolted on.
Oh,
yeah, a lot of your German cars are.
All right. So I got like 6 of these, and I put in the upper cabinet over the refrigerator. So I wanted to hold it up when I open it.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Actually, I should see on our hutch because we have those struts on the hutch. I want to know if the ball sockets are bolted or welded on.
Yeah, I mean they're nice. They're brand new. I don't even know where I bought them. I bought like a couple packs of them. I was like, oh, I'll find the hardware. So you start looking for it. Where's Terry at?
Probably building a new motor.
I'll tell you what, that CUDA project is getting loose. It's going to be a good one.
And then he diverts and put up a video tonight about him starting up his Mark 8 that hasn't been run since 2014.
Yeah.
And he got it running too.
Yeah, he's going to start driving it, he said.
Yeah. All right.
Huh.
Wild man Terry.
I'm going to text him and see where he's at. He's playing around. He's probably asleep.
I just got off the phone with him about an hour ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got any room left in your shop, Tyler? I know you got a couple boxes.
No. I got 2 pallets of stuff shipped here for Terry, and I don't really have a whole lot of floor space left. I told him he needs to get a shelving sponsor for pallet racking.
Yeah.
And then I need a sponsored forklift too, so I can move the stuff around.
Yeah.
There's more stuff on the way. I don't know if it's showing up tomorrow or next week.
Yeah.
Wow.
It'll be a nice car.
Yep. Yeah, I told Nelson Gill that we should try to get the CUDA out to SEMA next year, 24.
Yeah.
So hopefully pull it behind my bus.
That'd be nice. Yeah.
Wonder if we could find a nice boondocking spot close to town out there.
there's the Airbnb that I got was is a little bit away from SEMA, but they had a campground right there.
Yeah.
It was probably right off the strip, probably about 3 miles from the hot stuff.
Circus has RV parking for circus performers. I wonder if they rent that out to non-circus people.
I bet you they do.
Then you'd be right there. It's because it's only like a block away from Circus.
What's up, everybody?
There he is.
Thank you.
The hell is that all about?
I'm just getting ready.
Getting ready.
You know, the new restrictions coming by.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
They can try.
Yeah.
I've seen people that were all about comply last time posting won't comply this time.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I got this last time. I thought it was kind of cool. Nobody scanned my face though. I don't know what the deal was.
Yep. It's already started up here.
Yeah, it's.
Oh yeah, you're in the real mix.
Yeah, you're in a blue area, buddy.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah, I'm going to Vegas in September, and I keep hearing things about September, and I'm like, I'm not wearing a mask. I'm not putting that on the plane. Forget that.
Yeah, they were talking about it.
Well, you better learn how to flap your wings.
Yeah. No, I'll just cancel that crap.
Yeah.
You're down in Florida, right, Keith?
Yeah.
How's the weather? I mean, the weather good?
It missed us. I'm in Tampa area, so we got some rain and a little bit of wind, but not bad. Up north, it hit a lot worse.
Mm-hmm. My daughter's on a cruise, but she left on the other side.
Oh, well, there you go.
She's good.
Lewis, can you mute Paul real quick? I think all that noise is coming from him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You can go.
Yeah, that was it.
You must have a bad mic connection or something. A dirty connection.
I don't know. It's weird when he's sitting there. It doesn't sound like that, but then when he walks away, it gets all crackly.
Yeah.
I don't know. So all your G8s are safe, Keith?
Oh yeah. Yep. Well, I have the black one stayed outside because I care about it, but not as much as the red one. So the red one's nicely tucked inside.
Snug as a bug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can't see you.
Yeah, you're behind Keith's
You're behind
name.
this. Yeah, behind my name. Come on to the side. Okay. I don't know what he's doing.
Paul's talking.
We can hear you, Paul. We muted you.
There was a whole bunch of sound feedback, Paul.
Wait a minute, I got you. There you go. We can hear you now.
I'm gonna call it a night and get some sleep, guys.
All right, Paul.
Okay,
All right, buddy.
Paul, take care.
See you next week.
Everyone have a
Hey,
safe
Paul.
and happy holiday weekend.
Yes, sir. You too.
Can't wait. Can't wait.
Has anybody used Turo to rent a car?
No.
I know people that have, but I never have personally.
Toro what?
Turo. Turo. It's like you rent.
It's like
people's
Airbnb,
cars.
but for like cars.
Yeah.
Actually, a friend of mine just put his. He has a C8 Corvette. He put it on there.
Yeah.
So he rents it out for like $275 a day, I think, and it makes the payments for him.
That's pretty cool.
Oh man, that's kind of shaky.
That's what insurance is for.
That's what insurance is for. Yeah.
Man, I know if I rent a car, it's not good.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm gonna drive it like I stole that son of a
Yeah. I
bitch.
don't take care of rental cars. Oh, there's a curtain there.
Well, it's a little different when you're talking about $55 a day for a Kia and $300 a day for a Corvette or Ferrari or whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
That doesn't sound too bad.
I got a
Yeah,
friend.
I mean, there's a deposit too. I don't know what the deposit is.
I got a friend in New York that rents exotics, and she's big money though. I mean, you're looking at big money.
Yeah, Does she do? Should she rent them for track days or just street driving?
No, street driving.
Yeah.
It's usually for celebrities and entertainers, stuff like that. They rent them when they go up to New York.
Yep.
So needless to say, when I go to New York, I can get one.
Yeah.
You know, when are we
Discount
going?
rate.
Good to know people.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out because when I'm in Vegas, I want to get some kind of car to scoot around in, and like the regular Enterprise and whatever other other places, it's freaking a fortune. I'm like,
It went up.
Well, yeah,
I used to rent all the time when I went out there, but man, it's
crazy.
cheaper to do Airbnb. I mean, what do you call it?
Uber.
Uber, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm.
When I was there last, all we did was Uber, because by the time you spend, you got to figure every time you want to go take the car somewhere, you got to spend an
Parking.
extra 20 minutes looking for parking.
Yep.
That's what I was
And
thinking
pay.
too.
And pay for parking.
And pay for parking.
Then you
And
gotta fill it
honestly,
up with gas.
I don't think we waited any more than maybe 15 minutes for an Uber.
Yeah,
So
especially
what-
out there, man. They're really on it.
So what does Uber cost? Like from the airport to somewhere on the strip?
It all
I
depends
wanna
on
say
the time of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it varies a little bit. I want to say it was like from the airport to Circus right on the strip was $40 maybe.
Yeah, I think it was cheaper than that for me.
Maybe.
Yeah, it changes all the time. Depends on.
Depends on the day.
I'm sure you go
Depends
there
on the
during
day,
SEMA, it's probably a
peak
lot.
hours, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I know. And pretty much it was $20 every time I wanted to hop in an Uber to just scoot around town, like up to Fremont Street or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was because we want to go to Fremont and Stratosphere and
Yep.
with that Meow Wolf.
Definitely, you gotta go up to the Strat.
Yep. And then
All
we
the
want
way
to go to Hoover Dam. So that's my only issue. Maybe we take a bus out there. I don't know.
Yeah, they got tours to go out there.
Yeah.
So Dad and I, after SEMA last year, we spent the whole day Saturday doing sightseeing stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the things we did was we took a helicopter tour of the Grand Canyon, and they also offer them for the Hoover Dam and stuff like that.
yeah.
They offer packages where you take a bus out to Boulder City, you fly around the dam in the air, and then they'll bus you over to the dam and you can walk it too. It's like a combo tour thing.
Yeah, it's to the hotel, the place where you're staying. They offer all that stuff.
They'll shuttle you right from where you're staying. Yep.
They'll take you right from the lobby and right down there because when we have our conventions out there, Jenny, my wife, she doesn't want to do the convention stuff, so she'll pick. And like one time they flew, she leave. It's like it might be 6 o'clock in the morning when you leave. But like on the one that she did, she flew down in the Grand Canyon. They took her up and they flew down and they landed down, and then they had a little horse thing that went down to the bottom of the canyon, and it was all day. I tell you, she came back, she ate, she went to bed, she was wiped out.
Yep.
So. But they do that, and like I said, same thing for Hoover Dam type thing. They leave. So
Maybe I'll look and see how much the bus tour is. Maybe I'll just Uber everywhere else. Might be the way to go.
you going with the whole family thing, or
Yeah, it was 4 people, me, my wife, and 2 kids.
yeah.
So I tried talking her into going around the end of October, first around November, but like she saw right through that plan.
She's
Halloween on Fremont Street is crazy.
crazy.
It's also SEMA.
SEMA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only problem with that is if you didn't make plans now, you wouldn't have any place to stay at all. Though. You'd be 3 blocks off.
Off the
trying to
strip.
find
Yeah.
a place.
Yeah, we're gonna stay at the lobby
and isn't the F1 race the week before,
afterwards.
the week after?
Week after, I think.
And I think the week isn't NASCAR down there. The a week before that or something like that. Also, they usually are right around the same time. It's usually kind of busy because I know one time when we had our convention out there, it was the same thing. Everybody was coming in, and you had NHRA, you had NASCAR, and you had F1 or Indy or whatever it was.
Well, they're doing the F1 in the street down the
Yeah.
Right down the strip.
Yeah,
I heard-
Chris is going out for that.
I heard they would like charge in the hotels for people to watch or something. I'm like, how do you, or they're going to block it? How do they block somebody from seeing F1 from a hotel? I don't.
Oh, yeah. So what the hotels are doing is if your hotel room has a window view of the street, they're charging like 7 or 8 times the going rate.
Okay.
Only for the day of the race.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's insane. My buddy, as soon as they announced it last year, so all through November, he was talking about it, and he was seriously looking into it. And he was like, "I'm going to book this and go." And he figured the cheapest he could do it plus travel was $5,000.
Oh my gosh.
And he's like, "Nah."
Forget it. Yeah, forget it. Not worth it.
Yeah.
Formula One is ridiculous. Company I work for, we have one of our main offices is Austin, and I was down there one time talking to somebody else, and he happened to be there, and he was staying in a hotel for the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the room was $100 a night. Thursday, the room was $1,000 a night because it was Formula One weekend.
Yep.
And I also saw something. Miami was earlier in the year, and one of the motorsports journalists was like, "Hey, maybe I'll get a pit pass, go down there and just walk around for a little bit." Pit pass, 3 days, $20,000.
What?
And people pay it. That's the killer.
Yep. That's the crazy part.
He's like, "Nah, that's okay."
Yep.
Yeah.
F1 is the spectator sport for millionaires.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, if you ever see, like, when they race in Monaco and in those places along the Mediterranean, oh man, the harbor fills up with all these mega yachts, and it's sickening as a poor person.
Yeah, one's bigger than the other. I forget which one. There's an ex-Formula One driver. Now he sells Learjets.
Yep.
And he lives in Monaco too. So God bless
Yeah.
him.
Whatever her name is, the lady that is the heir to the Walmart empire. Something Sierra, something like that. Anyway, she's got a mega yacht, and it shows up all over the world at all these posh events. It's crazy.
I don't know. I went to an Indy event, car event one time in St. Pete. They were doing down in the streets.
Yeah.
And we were in the stands, and I saw the cars for like 2 seconds, fly past, and then I wait, nothing, and again 2 seconds. I'm like, this isn't worth it.
Yeah, you get way better coverage on TV.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I spent all this money to sit here and say, boom, and then wait, boom. So I just went outside and walked around looking at other stuff. I'm like,
yeah.
And I never went back again. It was the only time I went. I'm like, screw, I'm not going to waste my money again.
As far as motorsports to watch in person, other than drag racing, the only one I can really recommend is NASCAR, because especially the shorter tracks, like like half mile,
you can see the whole
tracks,
thing.
You can watch the whole entire race. You can get the driver coverage and all that stuff in your headset. You can go down and stand by the fence and feel and see and hear the cars go by.
Yep.
But all these other big road course racing events, they can't be worth your money to go see.
That's like I see people go to Sebring and they're hanging out in their campers and everything, and like videos of it. It's like a whole bunch of cars, brr, 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 and then it's nothing. And then I'm like, I see like 3 seconds of cars.
It's like going to watch a race on the Nürburgring. You're going to see a pack of cars go by, and then for 14, 15 minutes, nothing.
Yeah.
So that's like one of my bucket list things I want to do is I want to go watch the Isle of Man TT. And for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's the deadliest race in the world.
Motorcycles.
They've run it 126 times, and they've had 240 something fatalities. So they average almost 2 fatalities every race, and it's not even always racers. Sometimes it's spectators.
Yeah.
What it is the island of Man sits. I forget what the body of water is called, but it's between Ireland and the main UK, and it's a bunch of like rich people's vacation homes. And 1 week of the year, they shut down like most of the streets on the island, and they make this big road circuit. And street bikes go there from all over the world, racers from all over, and they will hit insane speeds, like 200 miles an hour, with a stone retaining wall, 6 inches away as they're leaning into a turn. It's insane.
The back alley.
I want to go see that race because you can actually camp there, right on the edge of the road, and literally have bikes going by all day. And most of the fatalities occur in the week leading up too, because they do like amateur runs and stuff like that. So, but yeah, and as far as watching road course races, I would never spend hundreds of thousands to go do that.
No.
Really?
That's why I like going down to the Freedom Factory. He has the Crown Vic races. You can see everything, and it's it's a good time. It's fun.
I was just talking to Nelson the other day, and we were talking about content creation and stuff like that. And I said, love him or hate him, arguably Garrett is probably the #1 automotive content producer in the country, if not the world.
Yep.
Well, because I go to races all over the place. I go to drag races. I go to dirt track races. I go to everything, and the merchandise I see people wear unanimously at every event is 1320 and everything that Garrett does. The Freedom Factory stuff.
Yeah,
that's just what I see.
No, it's cool.
Like a brand name mixed in there. Someone will be wearing a Precision Turbo shirt or
Motion Raceworks
or whatever. Yeah, maybe a Motion Raceworks shirt, something like that.
Which is also supporting Cletus. Yeah.
Right. But the vast majority of the merchandise you see is all Cletus or 1320 stuff. So,
well, I'm sure the giveaways, he keeps doing giveaways, so that probably helps out a lot too.
It's become a full
I
time.
bought stuff.
I was gonna say, I know you bought stuff.
I bought the hat. So, yeah, it's a real cool place to go down there too, because it's like small track. You can walk around, go wherever you want. I was walking around looking at Crown Vics and stuff like that, in the pits and stuff.
And one thing Garrett does is he has a very modern approach to the way he makes his content. So he has no problem reaching out to someone and saying, "Hey, we should collaborate."
Yep.
Whereas there's a lot of these guys that are on the TV show side of stuff, like the people that Lewis primarily knows and works with. They have what I call the Hollywood mentality, where they're looking more at it as, what can I charge for? How can I line my pockets for this?
Right.
It's not to say everyone's like that, but a majority of them are kind of that way. They're not gonna mention Keith's garage on air if there's nothing in it for them.
Right.
Versus Cletus, he doesn't care who and every time someone mentions him, it does him good. Every time he mentions someone, it does them good.
Yep. Yeah. The only time I saw him say something was I was at some event and he said, "Please don't live stream any of this." I think it was they were doing Top Gear. They're doing some Top Gear things. I don't just take pictures, this and that. He goes, "Do not live stream any of it. I don't want live stream. I don't want to see it out there." And then he said, "You can do it later on after the show comes out. Feel free to post all you want." So I was like, "Oh, all right, that's cool, kind of cool."
Yeah. Yeah, we had an NDA when we went down and did filming for America's Got Talent down in Atlanta. We were allowed to take pictures and all that stuff, but not post anything.
Right.
Terry said he's jumping on in a little bit. He's walked in the door.
A little bit. He's gonna get on for 2 minutes, say goodnight, and go to sleep.
Yeah.
Come on, good night.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, speaking of which, I got to get out of here.
All right, Jim. Thanks for coming to hang out with us.
Hey, thanks for having me. Take care,
care,
guys.
Jim. Be
Have a
safe.
safe week. So we're trying to talk Ray into going to SEMA, but
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking about it. I did the diplomatic thing with my wife. I told her, hey, we'll go out for a little vacation, and
Yeah.
but like I said, now things got complicated now with my daughter looking to have a baby and planning a wedding. So we're trying to get back down to see her again.
yeah.
Well, who knows?
Well, she's already in the planning. I mean, already past the planning stage.
Yeah. Well, pretty much. Yeah.
This wasn't the, oh, by the way, we're thinking about, by the way, I am.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Thinking kids, man, it's hard to do grown up stuff because you got to mess with the kids.
Yeah.
And I told her a while ago, I said, damn it, I want to have grandkids. I said, I really liked having kids. I really enjoyed having young kids. I liked it. I really found it a good part of my life. And, before I can't move or I need a cane, give me somebody to play with or shit's going to be over.
I think it's better when they're not than when they're your grandkids too, because then things crying or whatever, you like, here you go.
You can give it back.
Give it back. Something stinks. Here, take this.
Yeah, that's if the parents are there with you. But if you just have them on your own,
Oh yeah, then you get
kind of stuck with it.
Yeah.
Well, that's the same thing as my dad said when I was talking about living on the bus and wanting to insulate it against the cold, in case I get caught in a snowstorm. And he goes, if you live on a bus and you get caught in a snowstorm, you screwed up.
Yeah. Lewis's son, he just turned 1 in July. And this dude is so wild, and I'm so happy.
Yeah, right.
Listen, Lewis put me and my wife to the test, boy. This dude was wild, and his son is twice as wild. So I'm happy.
A lot of
That's how
times
it usually works out.
So me and I call him Dede. That's his black name, Dede. I said, me and Dede gonna get in trouble a lot. They were like, Dad, don't get him dirty. Okay.
Yeah.
Payback's a lovely thing.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yep.
Well, guys, I'm gonna go jump into bed because I thought it was Friday. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah, I know.
You begged Terry to get on, and now you're going to jump off before he even gets here.
Yeah, he's messing around. I'll hang out for a little bit longer.
We'll keep he gave me a call the other night. I was at a cruise night, and I missed the call because I didn't even hear the phone go off. And so I got home, and I said it was like about 9:00, and I sent him a text. I said, listen, I said, I missed your call earlier, but if you want, I give you a call now. What's up? And he never replied to me. But the next morning, which was Tuesday morning, he calls me. My wife and I just left the supermarket. We were just shopping, and he calls me on the phone. I'm like, all right, so you're only about 10 hours out of sync. So
yeah, he's not great with the messaging.
I see. I know that.
But he calls me like 3 times a day. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Checking on his stuff.
Something will work.
Yeah. Well, there's a whole bunch of stuff here for him, so I imagine that's why he's calling me all the time.
So he's doing the build out of your shop, correct?
I think we're going to do the majority of the suspension work here, get it rolling again, maybe drop the motor in here. And then I think he said he wanted to do the engine management stuff here. But then sometime this winter, before spring for sure, he wants to get it out to his house so that he can do the interior and he's got an interior guy out there and that kind of stuff. So I think right now the plan is to try to have the car going to some car shows next summer.
Wow. That'll be a hell of a build. That'll be a thrash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that much room out there, though.
I mean, that's it's not even that, but he's working on like 3 other cars at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it.
You know, he was trying to get the 71 ready to go to some show in Teaneck, New Jersey. That was like a charity event for something, but
well, this here in Youngstown, this is going to be an event. It's going to be an event, so it'll be a little different.
Yeah.
And then next year, I guess. So we're gonna. He wants to. I don't want to talk about it too much without him being here, but the plan is to try to keep it as much of the original patina on the outside as possible.
Okay.
So there's some holes, you know, like the quarter panel's got a rust hole in it, you know, stuff like that. But the underbody is all pretty solid.
That's good because those e-bodies, you know, it's a you know, it's not a chassis car, so you got to have the right structural points or else it's falling apart.
Yep. So we got AMD sent us a bunch of stuff. One of the things they sent us was new frame rail sections for the rear and new trunk floor.
Nice. So
get all that stuff done. And then he's going to do coil over conversion on the front suspension and 4-link rear suspension, I believe.
Okay.
All QA1 stuff.
Yeah, it's a leaf spring rear in that car. So.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to get converted.
And there's a guy out of Oregon who does he does a whole front subframe with the coilovers and the rack and pinion. Real nice. I can't remember the guy's name. He was always on Graveyard Cars.
QA1 does them now too.
Yeah.
So that's what QA1 sent him was the whole stage 2 handling kit.
Nice.
So
it's gonna be pretty.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. I think that his goal is to have like the interior be pretty fresh and new, and the engine bay to be pretty fresh, and the suspension department to be pretty fresh. But then the outside of the car looking pretty ratty for a while.
He's not gonna know what the hell he's driving. He's gonna have so many cars.
Hey, that's the way to go.
I mean, we all kind of fantasize about that, but then I say, in reality, in New York here, I mean, that's inspections. I mean, you got, you know, registration fees every 2 years. It's a couple $100 just to keep the gas fresh, and the oil change is going to be thousands of dollars a year. You know.
Well, he doesn't have to worry about any of that yet.
Well, no, but when they're all together and running, you know.
If
cycle, you know, you got a fleet to maintain, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, we should all have that problem, but I'm saying it's, you know, I've talked to people about it and said, you know, be careful what you ask for. You might get it. I mean, that's a lot of work. It's a lot of money, a lot of work just to keep, you know, I don't know if he plans, but I don't think he's planning on getting rid of anything either.
No,
I don't think so.
They're all keepers.
Yeah.
Hey, good for him.
So me and Tyler are going to take a trip out to Minnesota to pick up a truck. I think I'm going to do a 78 pickup truck.
You too, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna
get a bunch of cars.
Yeah, right. It has a utility bed on the back, you know, like the service trucks.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put the motorcycle on the back of that, and then put all my leather stuff in the toolboxes.
Okay.
And pull it behind the back.
Turn it into a little workshop on the back of the truck.
Yeah. Yep. And I measured out one at work today. I think I can get my big sewing machine if I build a platform for it. I think I can get it in one of the side boxes, so I can have it swing out. I can do my sewing and, you know, have all my stuff right there.
My buddy at the shop, my friend's son, he was asking me about the Impala the other day. He wants that car. I was telling my buddy Kevin tonight, I said, you know, I should sell him the car, and then I should hire him at the shop to put the floor in the Nomad so I can get that thing going.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't think they have the space to do it, though.
I wish I had the money to buy that car if you're ready. That's on my bucket list, man. Believe me.
You know what went bad? I got the Sunshield shade. It looks like a shade, but the very top of the headliner where it rolls around, it just dried out and fell apart.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
You got to put suede in there. Suede her out.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that's one of my cars, man. One day maybe I'll get one.
Yeah.
They're so expensive now, man. They had got down to 3,000, 4,000, man, but they're back up. They're
They
up.
did. They dove down and they came back up. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
that stuff's crazy right now.
Yep.
And it's just going to stay crazy as long as people keep paying.
All the 80s cars, man, they got cheap. Now, man, they're up.
Right.
Cutlass, Buicks, all of them.
Yep.
Yeah. And the odd thing about that really is that there's not a lot of aftermarket parts for that stuff.
Mm-mm.
Not for the 80s cars, no.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Nope.
But people are trying to get that stuff going or find stuff. But
You need a good, clean, original car.
yeah. And
Well,
And you'll find them because they were mom and dad and grandma's car, and a lot of them weren't beat up. You just got to get lucky and find them.
But like I said, a lot of those cars, a lot of them for cash. I can't tell you how many we destroyed for cash for clunkers.
Yeah.
It was a shame. It was a real shame.
That really hurt the industry bad.
It did.
That's the reason I closed down my trucking company.
Really?
That was part of it. Yeah, a big part of it.
Yep.
Because a lot of the new car dealerships, they'll take cars in on trade. They stopped taking them to the auction. Now that took away the used car dealerships buying cars from the auction. So I was hauling them both. I was hauling from new car dealers to the auction, from the auction to the used car dealerships.
Yeah.
Well, that dried up, man. It was bad. That was a bad move.
I was one of the only, a few, I wasn't the only guy, but I was one of the only few guys that would work on anything at the dealership. So the used car guy loved me. He'd get something on trade and say, hey, can you look at this, or can you do this, or can you do that? I was like, whatever, Yep. But when that cash for clunkers, man, I noticed a big change in my paycheck real quick because that stuff. And I literally at that time, when you think back, I was like, dude, this is going to kill this business. And and they're coming up, they're trying now with this second cash for clunkers trading in towards EV cars.
Yep.
Yeah.
They just haven't gotten their whole thing straightened out on the EV. I mean, as in they want to promote only American. That's like the tax write-off. It has to be. There's only a handful of cars that you can use for a tax write-off.
Yep.
For that $7,500 or whatever it is.
And people don't think about this, but also went into effect is they bailed out the manufacturers, right? And part of that deal was, okay, we're going to bail you out, but you have to close some of your brands. So think about Oldsmobile went out of business, Saturn, Hummer, Saab, all those companies and all those factories, they all went out of business. So where did those people go? The car dealerships went out of business.
Yeah.
You got people that had car dealerships for 100 years in their family, and then they closed them down. You know what I mean? So not only did it lose jobs, you lost all those brands.
Yeah.
And people don't put that in the equation, man. That president was bad.
Yeah.
And people look at me crazy. I'm like, look, man, I felt it. It caused me to close my business that, I was self-employed all my life until that. You know what I mean? So
the other thing with the engines, they put some crap in there that intentionally destroy the motors too, and the engines in the car. That was ridiculous.
Oh yeah, I can't tell you how much stuff I poured down.
Yeah, you just ruined whatever parts somebody could have used.
Actually, they weren't selling that. They were only selling it to shops. So the auto parts store up the block from my house had cases of it. And since I know the guys, they let me take, I forget if it was a quart or a gallon. And I brought it into the radio show, and I actually said, "Look what I got here. This is like the Dr. Death, cocktail."
The engines.
And, it was kind of scary just holding it in my hands.
Yeah.
So, you want to hear some statistics about it?
What do you got?
Program officially started July 1st, 2009. Processing of claims began July 24th of the same year. The program was exhausted as all appropriated funds were used by August 24th, 2009. So 1 month.
Mm-hmm.
And take a wild guess how many vehicles went to the scrapper out of that program.
A lot. I don't know.
Is it millions or more?
It's less than 1 million. It is less than 1 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it would have been more.
700,000.
Really close. 677,000.
Wow. And all V8s too, probably.
Yep.
Yeah, they had to meet some mileage per hour, bad mileage per hour, like 15 under or something like that.
Yeah.
Which that's a lot of different
That
vehicles.
was everything. We had a GMC Jimmy from my mother-in-law. We tried to turn it in. It wasn't in our name, so we couldn't use it for a cash for clunkers. The thing was on its last leg. So I'd figure, I can't remember how much they were giving, $5,000, something like that. I was like, yeah, sure, the thing's not worth that much. I'm like, I'd be stupid not to. But it wasn't in our name, so we couldn't trade it in or clunk it out, whatever.
So the top model of vehicle that was traded in for that 677,000, Ford Explorer.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And the top vehicle that was sold for those, because the catch was you had to trade it in and you got that cash towards a new vehicle.
Right.
It wasn't just cash in your pocket. Ford
Explorer.
Toyota Corolla.
Wow.
So their plan worked. People got a car with a better gas mileage. That's what they wanted. Well, that was the other thing. I think you had to turn it in for a car that got whatever gas mileage.
Yeah. So here's the stipulations. It was basically a 3-tiered program. Let's see here. Is that what got passed? There's like a couple of different things listed. Okay, here was the final criteria that was in the bill as passed. The vehicle had to be less than 25 years old on the trade-in date. Only the purchase or 5 minimum lease of a new vehicle would qualify. Generally, they had to have a 18 mile per gallon or less rating. And let's see, you had to own it continuously for a full year and had it registered and insured that whole time. Supposed to be in drivable condition. And the program required the scrapping of the eligible trade-in vehicle and that the dealer discloses to the customer an estimate of the scrap value of the trade-in as well. Oh, and they had to give that towards the rebate as well. So you got the government program rebate and the scrap value of the car.
You got the scrap, yeah.
So
that's why, because we had a handful of cars, like we all wanted to, either save or take parts off of, and they were like, no, because it was all about the scrap value thing. And of course, when you look back, it shows you how stupid people are. It's like, so if I take an alternator off a car, it's not going to change the, it's not a big change in the scrap value of the car, but they were, like I said, it was just a real mess. And even here in Maryland, they changed the law on junkyards. So that if a car was a certain age, that they had to get rid of cars. They couldn't keep the cars because they had to pay taxes on cars.
So you couldn't go get parts to keep your car running.
Right. So then next thing you know, they're cleaning out the scrap yards because they had to pay. It would be like a personal property tax or something. That was now they put a value on it, and it's income, so you're being taxed on it. So these guys just cleaned these junkyards out like overnight, dude. We had a lot of them that just literally disappeared overnight because they weren't going to pay income on that.
Right. Yeah, they had a plan to ruin it, man. I'm telling you.
I remember at the time they're like, oh, the classic car is the one, it's 25 and older. So that was one of the talking points, remember? Oh, the classic cars, they're not affected. You know, the old muscle cars and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, still, I saw a cyclone and a typhoon that got scrapped.
Wow,
Right.
really?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's good job.
Yeah, I mean, it still reached into the 80s. You know, deep into the 80s.
Yeah, well, that's like I said. That's why those '80s cars are so, there's not like you said, there's not a lot of stuff for them, or and if there's anything that is available, it was from the help section of the high gear, interior door handle or a handle, or some trim panel piece that, like when you pull the door closed, that loop that went on those GMs or whatever, that stuff you could find to say, but anything else, you're not,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to find. A buddy of mine was restoring a early, this was I think an 80 or 81, might have been a 7. I don't think it was a 79, but it was an 80. It was like one of the first Ford pickup trucks that actually had options. It wasn't just a pickup truck. That's when they started getting the glam life,
Mm-hmm.
and from sitting out, I think he got it from someplace out in Oklahoma, but from sitting out in the farm or on the field, like the door panels were just like brutal to touch. I mean, it took him years to find stuff to restore. I mean, the truck is beautiful. I mean, he restored it to the factory showroom, but he's still like, he's looking for a cruise control module for it. You know what I'm saying?
What model pickup is that, Brian?
That was like 1980 or 81 F-150 Ford pickup truck.
Okay.
And, this is like, it was pretty loaded. But this was like right when the whole hype on pickup, it had a plush interior, and, it had cruise control, and it had a lot of weird options on it. And that wasn't normal for that, a farm truck, a pickup truck,
Sure
that's
became
before
normal.
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's, I joke about my F-350, right? Because when the wife said that I used to have I had an 87 F-150 pickup truck, 6-cylinder, manual transmission, I think. Yeah, manual. It was a 3-speed with an overdrive, plain Jane, plastic seats, rubber floor mat. It was just a pickup truck. And I mean, I loved the truck. It was a 6-cylinder, but I couldn't carry the kids around in it because I didn't have any room for car seats, especially when we got to number 3. So the wife was like, "That's it. You need to carry these kids around. So go get your crew cab, your Super Duty, blah blah blah." And of course, I go up to the Ford dealer and I'm looking, and of course they have all these F-250s, and they're loaded with everything. Premium sound, the moon roofs, this leather. I said, dude, I just want a pickup truck,
Yeah.
4 doors. And so we picked up. So I picked one out. We drove it around, and we got the numbers where we wanted. And he goes, bring it around back. We'll get it cleaned up. Let's go do the paperwork. And I pulled into the back of the dealership, and there's the white F-350 sitting there. And I said, what about that truck? He goes, oh, you don't want that truck. And I was like, well, what do you mean I don't want that truck? He goes, well, there's no options. And I said, dude, what have I been saying for the last 2 hours? I don't want any, He goes, well, that was a state truck that they didn't buy. It's just plain Jane, dude. There's nothing on it. I said, that's what I want. I said, I don't need any of that other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, well, let me go see. So I got that F-350 less than the F-250 because they wanted to get rid of it. But the mistake I made with it was I never looked at the gross vehicle weight because the F-350 was 13.2.
Mm-hmm.
So it was over 10,000. The F-250s were 9,800.
Yep.
So
different class.
it was, yeah. And of course, I got to pay in Maryland. I had to pay 1 year. I had to pay every year for for over 10,000 pounds
Mm-hmm.
on that. So I went from the, $117 to, I don't know, 236.
They found a way to get your money, boy.
Yeah. So, but it was funny though, because of course, I had the truck for, 8 months down the road. Then I get the notification that I had to renew the tags. And I was like, I called the MVA up and I said, "Look, lady, what are you going crack or something? Why are you sending me this stuff? I've only had the truck, 9 months." And she's like, "Excuse me, sir, it's over 10,000 pounds." And I said, "Man, you're on drugs. There's no way." And she goes, "Well, go look at your door if there's a mistake or whatever." Of course, I go out and I was like,
Oops.
Yep.
But
So Ray, there's more information here about the solution that they poured in the motors to make them cease. It's a sodium silicate.
Yes, I remember.
So
that.
when it heated up, you drain the motor oil out, you pour that in, and it would heat up, and it would basically turn into glass inside the bearings.
Right.
Yep.
I will tell you something. I'm going to look. That was 2009, you said.
Yes.
So let me look here in this folder of mine.
So the reason is stated for disabling the engine and making it completely unusable was to avoid recycling schemes such as one discovered previously in Germany, where authorities found that an estimated 50,000 scrapped vehicles had been exported to Africa and Eastern European countries and sold instead of those countries importing more expensive, newer versions of the same vehicles.
Wow. Yeah, they didn't want them going anywhere. They wanted to make sure they died on the table.
Yep. Auto recyclers and dismantlers criticized the program due to the requirements that the engine be disabled to prevent reuse of parts off of the car. To auto recyclers, a car's engine is considered one of the most valuable parts of a junked car. Many recyclers refuse to participate in the Cash for Clunkers program as well due to the limited profit potential of junking a vehicle brought in under the CARS program.
True.
Yep.
Now, could you rebuild that engine? I guess you could if you took it apart, right?
No,
it
was like pouring in epoxy.
That silicon stuff, the Germans used that. That's actually what they made the cylinder walls of aluminum block. There was no sleeves, and that silicon was it was really indestructible. I mean, it was indestructible. It was very hard to destroy that stuff. But the problem that's one reason why the motors were so expensive, the German cars, because they would lay that stuff in like all the water passages and the oil passages. And that also kept, when they started trying to save money on that, that's when we start having problem with porous blocks in the sand castings, because when that silicon sealed, it sealed that block up on the inside. It was some incredible stuff. And when you poured that in and it pumped through, it blocked all the oil passages. All that stuff was just, it was like pouring concrete into like having a concrete block on an NHRA car instead of water passages. You just fill it with concrete. That stuff was brutal.
Yeah. What's up, Terry?
Hey, Terry.
What's up, gentlemen?
There's our man.
Better late than never.
I'm tired, man. All right. Just running. Going to work, running. Work on these cars. Now I got the Lincoln Mark 8. I'm trying to get that thing going.
So that video, Terry, I tell you, man, it was great, that car. Where were you pouring the gas when you were pouring it in that under the hood?
Straight down the throttle body. The throttle body on that 4.6 sits up straight.
Oh, it's in the back.
It's in the back.
That's a weird place for it.
Yeah.
Everything's weird on a Thunderbird.
Okay, yeah.
That's a Mark 8, so just as weird.
Yeah.
Just with a bow tie on it.
This bow tie.
Bow tie.
But it does have the two letters that I do like: LS, C, LS.
It needs an LS under the hood.
That's what I'm saying. Look at Brian over there. Look at him.
Well, actually, I wanted to tell you, Terry. It was funny because a buddy of mine picked up a 51 Cadillac. I think it's 51.
Okay.
And he was like, I don't know what to do with it. And I said, well, you got to do what everybody else does. Put an LS in it. I'll tell you who to talk to. And he's like, really? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
You're finally seeing the light.
No, not really. But I just thought it was kind of funny.
Put a door star on it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Cadillac motor. Stay with Cadillac.
One of my buddies just picked this up. 60 Buick, the Sabre.
It's an Invicta.
Very nice.
Who did?
One of my buddies, Ben.
Hmm.
He got it. He says a California car.
I'll show
Nice.
you guys. This is from 2009. This was a gallon of the sodium silicate that I got from the parts store and brought into the show.
Yep, for the cash for bunkers.
It was heavy. It was actually heavy. It's a sodium silicate 40%.
Yep.
So they sold it at like whatever, like AutoZone or something like that.
No. My certain parts stores had it,
Yeah.
and it wasn't for sale to the general public.
Oh, okay.
So the guys by my house, and Sarah, they're like, they deal with a lot of commercial. They had cases of it, and I happened to be talking to one of the guys, and I said, hey, can I just take one of that? It was a Saturday. I said, can I just take one of those? Just want to bring it to my show on Sunday. I'll bring it right back to you Monday morning. And the guy was like, yeah, okay, take it. So I felt like I had a bottle of death in my hand. It was crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would get a few. I had one 944 that the lady had like smoked. I mean, just smoked it, overheated the car so bad that there was a section of where the rings had worn through that silicone stuff on the block. And of course, trying to find parts for it, whatever. There was only one. The United States was not allowed. There was nobody in the States that would do that silicone stuff because of the hazmat and the thing. And we had to send it up to a place in Canada. And they redid the cylinders because there was no I mean, that's one thing with Porsche. There was no rebuild stuff. We rebuilt everything. The only thing that we never had to rebuild was a rack and pinion. Those were the only and that was all new. There was no rebuilt stuff. So anything that we did, alternators, brake calipers, master cylinder, any of that stuff, there was no remanufactured stuff. Transmissions, we had to rebuild everything. So that was a learning experience.
So I was Terry. I was telling all the guys earlier about my lack of floor space woes.
Oh snap! Well, that just means we gotta get together and we gotta start building.
Yeah, we gotta start putting these parts on the car so that they're not taking up on my floor.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, he's got and more stuff are coming next week.
Yeah. Are you gonna be out here on the 16th of September?
I'm gonna try to get out there before the 16th or whatever that Thursday, or I'm gonna try to stay that Thursday. We're gonna get a lot done. I actually like to have Arco come down at some point because he says he wants to come down, and that boy probably put those quarters on in about a couple hours.
Yeah,
he's no joke.
That'll get rid of most of the patina on the back side half of the car.
Yeah. we can scuff up and make patina on it. Have straight patina.
It's true.
We can definitely do that.
Yeah, if you happen to be in town on the 16th, that's when our Stunt Life movie premieres.
Yeah, you were telling me about that. I got it marked in. I'm going to try to get down to like at on the 16th. That's the Saturday 16th.
Saturday the 16th. Yep.
Do we have a barbecue steak again?
I'll make you whatever you want if you're here.
That man, let me tell you something. That boy right there, he is no joke. Me and Louis Lee, we ate good. That boy smoked up them steaks.
Sure did.
Woo! Yeah.
Gotta roll out the hospitality for Coverman, you know.
No. I'm a regular grunt, man. But I tell you, anytime I have a good steak, man, that was way better than those $100 steaks that we had in Indiana and in Las Vegas. Way better. Way better.
Well, I had the chicken, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. You had the $40 chicken.
Yeah.
$40 chicken. Yeah, we have to see what Ty can do with chicken now.
Heck yeah, I'll cook anything, man.
Ray, Ty, thanks for the information with you pretty much confirmed what my suspicions were with the pitch angle on setting the drive shaft.
And Terry, that's the thing. I tell this to other people all the time. That's kind of what we do. None of us know it all. Some of us know, well, some of you know more than most, and the rest of us are just kind of working our way through it. But you throw out a lifeline. You ask your buddies just for checks and balances, and that's what you did. And it was, we need to do more of that because people they make mistakes like that. You just got to ask.
Nah, the only questions that are dumb are the ones that are not asked.
Exactly.
So
I've always said that. Yep.
And I've always set it up before, but then I just thought about it. I was like, wait a second, hold on. Is this, it just hit me. Is this right? I mean, I never had vibration or anything like that, but I was like, I wonder if this is right because, like you said if you have a transmission that's down, right? Let's say down like this, and then you have the drive shaft that's up, it's got to be almost in a Z formation. But if you take that, it's supposed to be like this. Now, if you take that angle finder or either that gauge and measure it under here, it's going to say, let's say 3 degrees down. And if you take the same one, it's going to say 3 degrees down here, whatever it is. But they always saying that it should be 3 degrees down, 3 degrees up. But, it is up. So at some point, you're going to have to turn that gauge the opposite way. So down would be up. It's more confusing than what I'm making it sound like. Yeah.
No, and what gets confusing is the gauge actually says either down or up or plus or minus. And I like I told you, I said I ignore all the symbols and I just look at the actual degrees. So if the transmission is down and the transmission or the rear end needs to be up. So when you have your gauge against the rear end, you should have to move the top of the gauge out to get the indicator to 0.
Yeah,
as long as you have to move the top of the gauge out to get to 0, you're on the correct side of 0.
But like you were saying, like if it's like this, you're measuring the end here and the end here. So one's going to be off. One's going to say the opposite, especially if you're going from the same side. Now, if you're measuring this and this is down 3 degrees and here you got to measure this one, you should flip the gauge around. You know what I'm saying? Where now down would be, right. And but like you said, ignore all the, the little arrow because I never had that arrow thing before. And I was like, that's what really threw me off. I was like, wait a second, hold on. I knew the answer. I just wanted a confirmation. Ray's going to look for a gauge.
Yeah, right next to him. Hey, guys, I got to jump ship.
All right,
Lewis.
I'll give you a call tomorrow, Lou.
All right, sounds good. Everybody have a safe week, and see you next Thursday.
Play nice on Monday.
Enjoy your Labor Day weekend.
All right, yeah, you guys too.
Yeah, I just use an angle inclinometer like this. It's just a magnetic protractor. Yep. This is another one. It's got a 90, and it's, and there is no up and down. It's just reading the degrees, like Tyler.
It's reading degrees.
That's all it is.
Yep.
But Terry, did you check that the link I sent you from Silver?
Yeah, it didn't work. I called up Tremec and they said that what happened. What they said that it's down. They did confirm that it was down.
All right, because I looked on my phone to see if I had it, and it wasn't on my phone anymore. So I don't even know how that.
Yeah. See, and you know what? I looked on my phone and I still got it. It's right here. Let's see. Is that one right there?
Yeah, that's it.
And then when you click on it, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, that I did get to use that on my car, and I tell you, it was great because it gave you it gave it to you in a couple ways. It gave you the degrees, and then it gave you a red, yellow, green indicator as to where you were. So you could just look at the colors and know if you were out or in. And you know, all mine were green, but I looked at the angles and they were correct. So.
And basically, what you're doing with all that setup is, as the rear axle tries to wrap under acceleration, you want your zero. You want to be as close to zero as you can under acceleration. And it's what a lot of people get wrong when they first move their car to Heim joint suspension for drag racing. Is they follow all these guidelines that says, oh, you need, -2 degrees offset, blah, 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 blah. Well, with Heim joints, you don't have that flex. You don't have that movement. So you actually set it dead zero at ride height. Yeah,
back in the day, the guys that I knew would always set for a negative pinion angle because they knew it would wrap, and they would I guess monitor it and then kind of figure out how far down to set the rear. But that was in the old days. We have much better suspensions now, much better.
Yeah.
So
suspension geometry is a lot better now too, so that as the rear end moves through its travel range, its relative pinion angle isn't changing.
Yeah.
Well, that's like what we were talking about with all the drive shaft, like the split drive shafts and the multiple U joints or whatever in drive shafts. Right. Just because you have your drive shaft, believe it or not, is turning 2 different speeds. On that. So I mean it's not as, that's like guys that raise their trucks up, pickup trucks, and they have this death wobble, and they spend all this time trying to put struts things or on steering dampeners and all that, but the majority of the time it's just because their pinion angle, their drive shafts are so far out, or the pinion angle with the transmission, you get this whole vibration to the truck.
Yeah, that's what a U joint, that's what the U joints are made for, but they can only do so much.
Yeah, that's why, like you say, you see on the on the front of my F350, it's got dual U joints up front, because of that angle of, like I said, I don't have, I have the.
It's called a Carini joint.
Yeah, yeah, and it's but I have I have coil springs suspension on mine, where my wife's had leaf springs. So you had to be, again, if I would have raised her, there's certain things that you have to really watch out for, especially with the drive shafts. Yeah. Or they're famous, especially the front ones are famous where they'll freeze. You get one of those joints that will freeze and it won't rotate, the won't rotate correctly or spin, with the ball bearings in there, and you get all kinds of, they get kind of cocked or angled a little bit, and you get a lot of weird stuff with that.
Yeah, and U joints have an optimal range of angle where they can be off, and the further off your angle gets, that you're trying to force the U joint to bend around, the more your speed variance is between the two shafts as it rotates. So it actually needs to accelerate and decelerate as it makes a complete revolution, and that can be really, really rough on components.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it sure is.
There's this video series from maybe the 60s or so where that's like I don't know if it was like a shop education, a tech school thing. I don't know what it was.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. It was like
I've seen that one. Yeah,
it was like in the 50s.
Yeah, and it's this guy in like a 3-piece suit, and he's going through all the different, like how an open differential works and all that.
Yeah, I can't remember.
This series of videos.
Yeah,
but one of the subjects he covers is U joints and drive shaft alignment.
Right. That was really interesting, pretty deep for back then.
Very, very deep, and I thought the visual aids were really well thought out.
Yeah,
the models that they built for him, because that was way before CGI or any of that stuff. So every he was manipulating a physical model on his desk basically, and it was really cool to watch.
Yeah, I say don't try to do better. Just use that guy. That video was just awesome. I
I tell
explained
you
it.
what, we had movies at the college. I mean, and up until the early 2000s, we were still playing the 16 millimeter movies on a projector. Some of the things were made in the 40s, but it's the same thing. It was these like professor types with the tweed jacket. And let's face it, math and science really hasn't changed. I mean, things still follow the same physical laws. So all the students would always look at this stuff and say, "Oh my God, what the hell is that?" I said, "You ever see Superman on TV? It looks like Superman." But the content was absolutely stellar.
And you know why I think some of that is? You got to think that video was made at a time when technology was much less prevalent in everyone's everyday lives.
Oh, without a doubt. You had to
Right.
be like a science student or a college student.
Exactly. So those videos were literally made to explain how a transmission or a differential works to someone who grew up pulling a plow with a horse.
Yeah.
I actually happen to have a series of them on DVDs. So here's like physics of frames of reference. We got, let's see, this is a cinema classic, ancillary materials and teacher's guides. This is another one, all physics stuff. It's all classics from, archival. What we got here? Conservation laws, angular momentum, and modern physics. So here, this one, angular momentum, would cover that subject.
Yep.
Mechanics 1, Mechanics 3, there's heat, waves, electricity, and magnetism. I mean, this is what we taught at the school. This was our curriculum. So this was the DVD version of those 16 millimeter movies, and this stuff is unbelievable, unbelievably good. But I think some of these movies were made back in the 40s. I don't know what the exact, or at least the 50s.
And the sad part about it is that today it's not taught.
It is. It is in the school that I worked at. I mean, that was our engineering program.
Yeah.
The engineers.
But I'm just talking about as in basic. This isn't everybody. This if you went for that in your class, in your field, but this isn't like shop class. I mean, we watched all that stuff in shop class.
Oh yeah.
We don't have that today. We don't have
No, this was all in our engineering program.
It's like it's just like I can't tell you how many kids on my route, and they're saying they don't understand the basics when they're working on cars. I mean, there's that stuff isn't taught like that, or it's like the guy that thinking that he can just put 5-lug, drill a hole in a rotor and make a 5-lug wheel. You know what I'm saying? I mean, nothing about spacing out or putting anything in or measuring, it's just kind of scary.
Yeah. Or, you go to put a caliper on a setup it didn't come off of, and you're like, oh, it doesn't quite fit. Let me stack up some washers in here.
Right.
Yeah, well, that was one of the things, like, I got a phone call, and he's like, I put rear disc brakes on this. It should have fit, but I can only get one pad in. I can't get the other pad in. And I'm like, okay, well, we have to space this out. We have to,
centered. Yeah, they don't know about centering the caliper.
Right. And, you go through all this, and it's like, and of course, it's like they look at, he comes over. What was it? I can't remember what it was, but he's like, how do you know all this stuff?
Yeah, like, I've heard that a number of times,
and it's just like, well, it's because I was taught. I mean, I had somebody that taught me, and they just don't have that today.
You know what it is, Brian? I mean, guys that are our age, we were fortunate where our parents, most of the men were, they were World War II generation, and these guys, many of them were in the war. They did service, and even guys who I mean, all right, you're going to have a supply clerk and you're going to have guys who didn't do anything mechanical, but most of these guys had their hands in mechanical stuff one way or the other, whether it was artillery or maybe with CBs or with, it could have been a line mechanic or A&P mechanic. So these guys growing up, I mean, I kind of realized it, but I never really thought of it as a kid. But everybody's father knew how to do something. Somebody was a woodworker. Somebody else, guys were tuning up their cars. Somebody's out there pulling a wheel off, checking brakes. Why? Because they saw it in the military. They all did something. Now we got to look at your block today. It's like milquetoast city.
It's like that guy driving that Ram truck.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking of.
I've been waiting all night to throw that in. But we're still live. We don't know if we can show that picture.
I know. And that was a real dude, man. That was a real guy. Actually, you know what?
You got to remember the world was a lot different back then too. Like I just shared on Facebook the other day a video of Ronald Reagan giving a speech in '87, 2 or 3 months after he was shot. And a balloon pops real loud. And in the middle of his speech, he just pauses and says, "You missed me."
Right. Reagan was the best. Reagan's, you watch Reagan's videos, his was the absolute best.
Yeah.
Very good.
But the whole world was a different place back in the '80s.
And even beyond, like I said, growing up, I mean, I had parents that were post-generate, what do you call it? World War II and Depression era. I mean, that was so that got handed down, and that's how kids learned how to build go-karts because the fall and back then, guys, fathers would help, just other kids on the block. It was more of a communal type of a thing.
Yeah.
And like I said, guys who they would always be doing something, cleaning gutters or maybe like repointing some bricks or things you don't see guys doing today. You just don't see people doing that unless they're hired to do it.
Right.
And so it's sad but true.
Sad but true.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like
everyone's become very highly specialized. They do one thing, and they're good at it, and that's it.
Yeah, well, they know how to use a computer, and that's about it. They just had to look up stuff and find somebody to do it. Yeah. But Brian, to your point, a couple of years ago, we had a car at the shop that they picked up, a '66 Biscayne.
Ooh,
straight 6 with an automatic, and I was getting it running, and I'm adjusting the points. So I pulled the cap off and I called Junior. I said, "Come here, let me show you." So I said, "We're gonna adjust the points. We had to go for a dwell. You need that wasn't 28 to 32. I think it was a little different on that motor, maybe 29." But I said, "Okay, here's what you do. There's a point gap. It's 016. So we take your feeler gauge." So he thought a feeler gauge was used for gap and spark plugs. I said, "No, that's used for points and for valves." So I showed him how to set the gap. I said, "Now we start the car." I said, "Now here's something that you're not going to see a lot of. It's a tack dwell meter. We hooked that up. We're going to measure the degrees of dwell now." And it was off, so I had to take the cap off. And I put my screwdriver in the breaker plate and moved it. And he says, "What are you doing?" I said, "We see that little slot there? That's the slot that you use to leverage the points and move them." And he said to me, "How do you know this stuff?" I said, "Because when I grew up, every car I had, this is how I had to tune it up. This is how I had to make them run. This is what I learned." He was a fuel injection. There you go.
The dwell meter.
That's a multi-meter. That's a tack dwell and.
Yep, volts.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
And this one right here is classic because it's Sears.
Yeah.
Before Craftsman even.
All right.
And Roebuck.
I was gonna say, does it say Sears and Roebuck on it?
No, it says Sears. So.
I will show you because now you invoked it. So I just happened to. I got it in here, so I'm going to show it to you. I brought my tack dwell meter. I got a several.
Do you have the green box one?
No,
Oh,
I don't know what the green box one is.
well, I have one that's like it's a box about yay big, and it has 2 metal clips on it, and it snaps together, and it's like in a hard case. I don't know who that's from. I don't even know where it is in here.
Gentlemen, I have to hang off because my dog needs to go to the bathroom.
Terry, wait a minute. You're going to want to see this, Terry, because
Hold on. I want to see that.
this will make you happy.
She's going to hold on. She's going to hold on. She says she's going to hold on.
All right. So this is Christmas 1977.
Oh,
Look at that.
So my girlfriend at the time gave me the Sun timing light and the Sun tack dwell, and I still have them both to this day. Brian, that's the timing light I need the inductive clamp for.
Is that round or square?
What?
Where it plugs in?
Well, what plugs in?
For the attack into the sun gun into the sun.
The cable is fixed. It doesn't unplug.
Yeah.
Oh,
But look at this gentleman here. Look at this guy.
This Tactwell, I still use this to this day. This Tactwell still works like a storm. Oh yeah, yeah. But that was Christmas 1977. So
Man.
that was So I still use that. I just used it last week on my friend's Mustang, and like I said, that timing light still works. I mean, stuff was made to last back then. It really was.
If you saw that, Reese says, "Looking good, Mr. Carter."
All right.
Speaking of Sears, there's still 11 Sears stores in the world.
No fooling.
Really?
Well, they're probably all in China.
10 in mainland U.S. and 1 in Puerto Rico.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
They sell Craftsman stuff still?
Home Depot does. No, not Home Depot. Lowe's.
Lowe's, I think, yeah.
It's the new Craftsman, yeah.
It's the new Craftsman.
Which I didn't understand. I know what, because Lowe's had what, Husky?
That was Home Depot.
Oh,
Lowe's had Cobalt.
So then they had the two brands. I'm like, it was their own brand, and then they had Craftsman. I'm like, it's like competing.
Well, it's like Harbor Freight has like 3 brands of hand tools now.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Icon, Pittsburgh, and something else.
Bauer or something.
Bauer.
Power tools. No, in hand tools, it's Icon, Pittsburgh, Quinn, and there's one more. There's another one. There's a fourth one.
Probably all owned by Harbor Freight.
Yeah, probably. The brand.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Take care, gentlemen.
Yep.
All right.
All right. I'm hopping off too.
All right.
See you later, guys.
See ya.
See, I had this. See, this was the Dr. Clamp, but see, it screwed in the bottom of ours.
Oh, that's got a round. Yeah, look at that. Wow, round 3/4 pin. Wow, that's cool. It's like an XLR connector.
This was I had these on I used to sell them on the tool truck.
Right.
This is an extra one. I don't know. Like I said, if you could splice it on the other end, I don't know.
I have the receipt too. I had actually replaced that inductive clamp once. And at the time, there was a company who was servicing it, and they sent me one, and it was fairly inexpensive, but now they're not there anymore.
And like I said,
Yeah, I mean, that's just, I would have to see what's in
like I said, it looks like, it has when the wire comes in the back, it has a clip like
strain relief, and
I don't know how it is on the inside. Like I said, it was just sitting in my drawer. I haven't sold one, and
right.
I can send it to you, and you can look at it and see because
who uses them anymore? I know.
But like I said, this one screwed into the bottom of the timing light.
Yeah, mine is fixed in the light.
And then where did my and then like this one, my timing light had a 3-pin plug on the bottom.
Yeah.
But it was a Sears timing light.
Right.
But that had
stuff. Yeah, it was Sun, and I tell you, the stuff is. I still have the instruction sheets for both of them. I saved that too.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the only good thing, well, not really good thing, but the only thing, and it might be, Sun was bought out from Snap-on. And Snap-on, yeah, Snap-on bought all but that's how they bought up Sun, and they have a lot of that stuff.
It's funny when I first started working at the shop, and there was a Snap-on guy. One of the first things that I left for him to service was my Snap-on, rollback timing light. It's just the bulb is weak. That sunlight that I have is much, much brighter than the Snap-on light. And he told me, no, this thing's obsolete. We don't have the bulbs. He goes, get like any timing light at a swap meet, for $5. He goes, you can swap out the bulb. It's kind of universal. I was like, oh, that's great service. Thanks, Bill.
Yeah.
So.
Do brand new timing lights? Do they use a bulb, or is it now LEDs?
I bought an Innova. Is it an Innova? Yeah, it's an Innova. It's one of those ones that bends like.
Yeah, take a little. Yeah,
and it has a tack to it. It has a tack built into it and a voltmeter, and it sure looks like a xenon. It doesn't look like an LED.
Huh.
And the reason is, I know why, Keith. The reason is, all you need is a toroid, an inductor, and you pass the wire through it, and you can light. I've done it. You can light a neon bulb without any wires connected to it.
Yeah.
Pass it through a toroid. It's the electromagnetic force that'll do it. So that's why they use those bulbs in the timing lights, because you're using, again, an inductive field that's going through the plug wire.
See, and this was my other one.
Oh yeah. That's not. Yeah, I like the look of that one. That always had a nice look with the different colors.
And that's a Sears also.
Right.
But they had points, volts, dwell, 4, 6, and 8, and it had amps, and then it had other tests.
Other tests.
Other tests.
Nice. Other tests.
Other tests.
Cool.
That one was hardwired.
I was talking to you about this cleaner that the oil they used at the shop that I got to use. Have you ever seen this stuff?
No.
It's SQ brand Mechanics Aid 17-6 penetrating oil. This stuff is pretty damn good.
Yeah. The other one I have is really I don't know. It's pretty big. I don't know what I did with it. It might be in my storage unit, but it was really nice because it was that machinery green hammered finish.
Hammertone, yeah.
And like I said, it was probably about that tall and about that wide.
They probably consider that an engine analyzer.
And it looked like an older metal first aid kit. It had that type of clips on the top.
Yeah.
And you open it up and you took the door off.
Uh-huh.
And then it had the gate, it was very similar to like this type of layout.
Right.
But it was the screen was bigger in that. And I had a guy, he was a naval guy. He worked with my mom. And when I first got the Mustang, he came over and showed me how to set the point, because the car wasn't running right, and showed me the points, how to set the points and timing, and then my dad had gotten me this stuff here.
Yeah.
And I guess it was a couple years later, I guess he wasn't doing stuff anymore, and he came by and gave me that thing.
That moped I was working on, we were having a little trouble with the runnability. So one of the things I said is like, let me take a look at these points. And there's a side cover, you pull it off, and then there's like the flywheel cover, and it just had 3 slots in it. You got to go through the slot. You actually turn it by hand so you see the points open, and then you can go through the slot with a feeler gauge and adjust them. And my friend was saying, like, well, what do you got to do that for? I was like, well, you got to have the right point gap, or you're not going to have the right ignition energy. And he's like, oh, wow, I didn't even know that they were in there. I'm like, yeah, I know you didn't. That's why you didn't do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a '69 Buick, and I had the points, and it got to be a pain in the neck. Like I was daily driving it, so it was like every month, maybe every 2 months, I had to adjust. Oh, the car's running rough. I have to adjust the points again. I'm like, there's a pain in the neck. I put an HEI in there.
The problem with the Buick is, no matter what, and I use my 90-degree tool. No matter what tool you use to get into that front distributor, you're always hitting the fan.
Oh, maybe, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I don't remember. It's been years since I had that thing.
Right.
But yeah, I got fed up with adjusting points. Too much maintenance. I'm like, forget this. They invented HEI. I'm putting that on.
Well, that's what my friend with the '66 Mustang with the 6-cylinder now. It was another one of those cars, like the Buick. I put points in that. Actually, the owner of the shop that owns the Buick put points in. It's a 350, and then the car wasn't running right. So I put the tack dwell on it. It was like 12 degrees, 13 degrees. It's supposed to be 28 to 32 degrees of dwell. I couldn't get that thing to run as I was trying to increase the dwell. I think like between 12 to 15, that was all I could go. And then the car would fall on its face. It would just stall. I could not adjust the dwell correctly, and I couldn't figure out why. But at like 12 degrees, it ran great. It started up. It ran great, drove, shut off fine. So I said, all right, I've never seen this happen before. I said, but drive it and let's see what happens. So another week or two later, I had the car back, and I was adjusting the carburetor and doing some other little stuff. And I said, you know what? I put the dwell meter on again, same thing. And I checked multiple dwell meters to make sure it wasn't a bad meter. But I was using my son meter, and it's always right. So then I went in the shop, and I had taken the distributor out of his son's 70 GTO that had, and it had a set of unipoints with points and condenser, and they were, old stock. So I took those out. I took the new points, what new means, never ever worked. Took those out of the Buick, put the uniset in, and I was able to set the dwell at 30 degrees. And then the car ran. So I'm like, okay, it was the points, but how were the points
off by that much? How
were they doing that? I still don't know, unless it was maybe the spring was so weak. So now fast forward a couple of years, I'm working on my other buddy's 66 Mustang, 6-cylinder. He had a flat spot, like right off idle when you drive the car. You hit the gas, it would just go, blah. And if you really feathered it light, you could get through it. Or if you hit it a little harder, you could blast through it. So I rebuilt the carburetor to 1 barrel and still did it. So now I said, okay, why don't we just tune it up? Get a set of points, plugs, rotor condenser, cap, the whole thing, old school tune up. And he did. We put the parts in, put the points in, the new points, and he was trying to get auto light.
Auto light, yeah.
I don't remember what brand he put in there. Well, anyway, I put the dwell meter on it, and that thing had to be, the dwell was supposed to be, it's either 29 or 39. I think it was 29 degrees. And I couldn't get the thing to run over like 13, 14 degrees of dwell. I was like, this is exactly what happened with the Buick.
Yeah.
And we kind of left it like that. He's thinking about doing a Petronics conversion. We may do that next. But we still couldn't get that stumble out of the carburetor. And I told him, I said, this could be fuel or it could be ignition. So on a whim, he said, you know what? He found these carburetors. They were Chinese carburetors. And he found 2 of them. One of them was like $150. The other one was like $79. He bought them both. And the carburetor is beautiful, brand new. It looks like an Edelbrock and Durashine carburetor. Very nice. You know, everything was new on it. Had some weird name on it that I couldn't pronounce.
Yeah.
Puts that on, and that took care of it. That was actually the problem with the stumble.
Oh, some carburetor issue.
But we still haven't figured out the that stupid dwell. So I think he, like I said, he's just going to get a Petronics conversion, and we're just going to do
Yeah,
that.
I know that before I changed mine over, because I put, I guess, a reluctor wheel or whatever, and a light. I guess it was Protronics or something, on there. But I know with the Fords, it was
What's up, Coach?
you had a lot of problems with the distributor plate wearing out, and you'd get all kinds of funny. That's Dave was the guy. That's what was one of the problems that I had with mine.
I could see that if you saw the meter like moving, because the plate was moving, but this was rock solid, just low.
Yeah.
And then I found, I brought my vacuum pump over, and I put it on the vacuum advance, and it wouldn't hold vacuum. I said, okay, you got a bad vacuum advance too. I said, maybe that's the stumble. And he changed the vacuum advance, didn't help the stumble.
And but like I said, that was like I said, I ran that for a while. Then I got one of those. I can't remember what company it was, but it had a wheel in it. And
well, Petronics has always been kind of the leader. Mallory used to make them too.
Yeah,
Mallory Unilite was.
Yeah, I had that. I had that in the Mustang, because I put that in, and then I can't remember what I had in the Scout. It was some off-brand or a different name. It might have been the Protronic or Protronics that you're talking about.
Yeah.
That was I put one in the Scout, and it's still in there, like I said. So
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought I had another, because I know we had like I said, the other one. I don't have one was hardwired. We all had something that plugged in the bottom of the timing light.
Right.
But like I said,
Snip the connector off, and was it 3 wires on there or something?
Well, this one has 4. It has 4 wires.
4. 1, 2.
And I don't know if one is, but they only have 3 coming out, so I don't know if something is looped inside of the plug or if it's a ground. Like one of these should be shielded, right?
Well, yeah, like I was saying before, I think you had your headphones out. I was explaining to Keith, all you need is a toroid, or an inductor, because that's what that is. There's a loop in there that's an inductive loop, and that's why when you put it over,
I don't know if you can see the red. See it?
Right. When you put it over the plug wire, it doesn't have to touch it or be physically connected. It's like the electronic field is read by that toroid, and it converts to the. It makes the light
around a magnet.
Yeah. Well, it's not really a magnet. Well, a toroid does have a magnetic core. Yeah. I was telling Keith, one of the experiments I learned when I worked at the at Leviton. One of the first things we had we were building something to put into an outlet box, and my boss at the time was telling me that we got to fire a neon bulb, and he goes, "I'll show you a little trick. It's really easy. You don't have to connect it to anything." I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You just have to have a toroid. So if you have a toroid that has electricity flowing through it, all you got to do is bring the neon bulb near it, and the neon bulb will light. It's the electromagnetic force, and that's the same way a timing light works, except it just fires that xenon bulb. So yeah, it's pretty cool science."
I don't know what happened to my timing lights. Should have been in that same drawer.
Aha.
Finally, can't find something.
Right. So,
What
Coach,
did
what
I-
were you doing that you made just in time to say goodnight?
Yeah, I know. Really, I'm
right?
passing out.
We had a makeup game.
Oh.
Our game was supposed to be on Monday, and I guess everybody freaked out because then they realized we were in the desert and canceled the game due to extreme heat.
Oh, shit.
What? Isn't it
Yeah,
hot there
well,
all the time?
I mean, in all fairness, we did have a heat advisory, but I mean, the kids were upset because they're like, it was this hot last week, but they rescheduled it for today, and well, we had a game. We got our butts handed to us.
Really?
I mean, my center broke his finger. The poor kid comes off the field. Everybody like froze, and I'm like, "What are you doing? Run the play!" And they're like, "Coach, his finger's broke." And I'm like, "Who?"
It's bent backwards.
Yeah, his fingers.
Well, here's the crazy thing. They send him off the field, and I start stepping onto the field, and I'm like, "Show me your hand." He broke a finger on his left hand, and he showed me his right hand, and I'm like, "I'm not seeing." And I'm like, "Here, let's get you over here." I said, "Somebody get me the athletic director. He's got a broken finger." But the athletic director told me later his finger looked like the letter Z.
Oh.
And I'm like, which hand? Because his hand he showed me did not look like a Z. And the kid didn't cry. And when he showed me, he just showed me his right hand. And I'm like, I don't even see swelling. Are you sure it's broke? But no, we've had a problem with the kids not paying attention, foolish disruptions, and they didn't come out ready to hit. We're behind on our hitting stuff because we got our mouthpieces late. So that's on us. That's on the administration and whatnot. But still, as far as running the offense, they don't pay attention, and they look foolish. But and then one kid got into a fight in the middle of the game and got ejected.
Really?
So that was pretty awesome. Me and the coach from our sister school came and filmed it for me, which everybody that recognized him was like, hey, you're getting your spy work on. And but when I had talked to him, I said, why don't you I said, you've got paid coaches, you can leave, right? Like they can finish out a practice for you. And he said, yeah. And I said, why don't you just come and film for me? I said, for one, it doesn't matter. My offense, because we used to coach together. I'm like, you have my whole playbook. So I don't care what you get on film on me, because you don't really need it. And I said, but we need to get film on this other school. I said, you got to face them in a couple weeks. And over the years, we've been needing to get film on them so we have it for future seasons. And he came. Oh, and then we had, the very beginning of the game. So it was our first game. And the head ref is back there telling my kids, hurry up, you got 10 seconds. You hurry, snap that ball. You're running out of time. And I asked the ref next to me, the sideline judge, hey, can you tell him to knock that off? This is our first game, man. You're getting them all discombobulated. Just leave them be. If we run out of time, flag us. They got to learn. But all that hollering, the quarterback's trying to see the play in his head and everything, and all he's hearing is you saying, snap the ball, and two more plays going. I'm like, hey, can I get an official timeout or something? I need to meet with the official. And he didn't do anything. And finally, I lost it. I started yelling, hey, shut up. I'm like, why don't you shut up and leave the kids alone? This is their first game. And I said, if we do your job, if we don't get the snap off, flag us, do your job. I said, but quit messing with my kids. And the ref standing next to me goes, oh man, coach, you're pissing off the wrong ref. And I said, I pissed off better than him. I said, so that doesn't scare me. I said, how about I asked you for a timeout and you an official timeout and you didn't give it to me? And yeah, that didn't go over. My AD was out there to see that. And he's like, no, I don't blame you. He's like, you're not in trouble with me.
When you said that, I heard it.
Yeah,
I heard it in Hank Hill's voice from the hell show is that?
King of the Hill.
King of the Hill. When you
King of the Hill.
Shut up.
Yeah.
I heard Hank Hill say that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. It might have sounded like Hank Hill, but it was a lot louder and a lot more animated. Me starting to walk onto the field.
I think if it was if it was Paul, then it would have sounded more like Boomhauer. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
So you need to relax, man.
I'm pretty loud.
You need to de-stress.
I'm pretty loud on the field. I'm pretty loud on the field just in general. And then it's funny because my wife was there, and afterwards I said, was I too wound up? Was I too? And she goes, you actually were a lot calmer than you normally have been in the past. She goes,
oh, wow.
You've changed a little bit. You've calmed down a little bit. I'm like, really? I'm like,
not that I would have known.
Going off pretty well.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'm pretty loud and I get pretty wound, but equally so when we do something good, I'm out there jumping up and down and celebrating. And you know, I did ask the coach that filmed for me. I said, did I go overboard at all? I said I didn't cuss at all. I said, how about when I hollered at the ref? And I said, I didn't drop any cuss words, did I? And he goes, I don't think so. He goes, but when you watch the video, you'll hear me going, geez, Isaac, knock it off. Calm down. But yeah, I tend to be pretty wound and pretty animated, and that's all sports. I mean, soccer, I'm probably louder or equally as loud, I guess, but that's because I'm constantly hollering to send the ball up, to pass it to the right, to the left, you know, shoot it.
When my daughter played soccer and I'd go, they all would hear me. So eventually I was called down by the coach because she would say, now yell this, because they want to hear her yell. You know, she wasn't as loud as I was, you know. And so I was the PA system for the team. And it was said multiple times, because even the other side would hear me, you know, could hear me and what I'm yelling and screaming, you know, on. And they were a lot of the parents. My wife would just kind of like cover her face because they're like, that's your husband out there barking off orders or whatever. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I'm a little loud too.
My wife was laughing when I got home. She goes, you were out there looking like a monkey on that one time out. And I said, oh my God. I said, the sideline, the parents, they couldn't hear me, could they? And she goes, no, you were making motions like a monkey. And I said, well, because I have a play coach, a play wrist. It's like this, and it's got plays in it. And I wear one, and quarterback, receivers, and running back wear one. But then I have signals on like option plays who I want it to go to. And I'm signaling, and this happened right about the time the kid broke his finger. I'm signaling, and I'm hollering out his name. I'm like, hey, you got your helmet on, right? And hollering his name, but trying to not get the other team to look at me and see that I'm signaling. But my QB is not looking at me. And I'm like, hey, how about you look over here? And I'm like doing this. Well, then he didn't catch the signal. he didn't give the ball to who it was supposed to. And then of course that kid, after the play is blown dead, that kid turns around. He's like, "Did you not get the signal?" And I'm yelling timeout, and I'm going, "You shut up, like quick, like you're right, but you're wrong, because now you're saying it right in front of the other team." And then I walk over and I'm like, "Hey, this is what I'm doing. What part of this do you not understand?" And I'm like, "What if I do this and this?" I'm like, "And I make look like a monkey." I said, "Would that get your attention more?" And one of my receivers, he's a African refugee kid, and he just started cracking up. But I'm sitting there saying that, and I'm like, I'm almost to the point of looking like a monkey doing all this stuff just to get your attention. Well, like I said, when I got home, my wife's like, "And you were out there looking like a monkey." And I'm like, "Oh my God." I'm like, what I said did, like, you couldn't hear from the sideline me yelling, "What if I look like a monkey?" I'm like, and she goes, "No, I couldn't hear it." She goes, "But you did look like a monkey." So that's what I was going off of.
Well, here we go now. Tomorrow night on Nightly News, Les will be talking about some coach being racist and calling their kids monkeys now or whatever. Yeah, you're already falling into that trap there, Isaac.
Yeah, and that's
No,
one
he
of
didn't call
those
him
things.
Call him something else.
Well, and that's one of those things where it's
Still
like,
alive.
"You dumbass, bring it," because come on, man. And like,
It was funny. Well, Brianna had played on all girls team, girls soccer. And then later on it was co-ed, it was boys and girls, and the same coach taught, was the same coach that she had forever, really. She had this other guy for a while too. And that was even a funnier story but let me finish the other one. When they were doing co-ed, I was so used to yelling, "Come on, you girls, you got to do that." I'm yelling this, and there was a couple of guys on the team, and they would they would stop and look like, "What are you calling me a girl for?" or whatever.
Yeah.
And I had one mother. She chewed my ass out after one game because because the kid was upset that I called him a girl. And I was like, "I'm sorry." I said, "I live in a house full of women." I said, "And I'm used to the all being girl." So the coach had pulled me aside. Kathy had pulled me aside, and she goes, "We have to change the girls. We can't say girls, it's guys. Hey, guys, do this." And I said, "Well, my daughter's not a guy." She goes, "It's just in reference." But then later on, when this other guy, he had it was a traveling team. It was funny because I was getting coffee one morning at the 7-Eleven, and I had never met this guy, and he's sitting there and he's like, your daughter plays soccer, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." "And who are you?" And he's like, "And you're the loud guy, right? Everybody can hear you." And I was like, "Yeah." "And who are you?" I'm like, "You asking about my daughter, He goes, "Well, I'm Coach so-and-so, and I really want your daughter to play on my team." And I was like, "Yeah, I don't think so, dude." And he's like, No, I'm serious, up and up, But it was kind of funny. I was like, "What are you asking about my daughter?" You know what I'm saying? This older guy,
Yeah.
So, but it was funny. Yeah, Brianna was really good.
Yeah.
She still is, but the problem was once she got hurt, it was really hard to get her past that mental state about, she was so afraid of getting hurt again. She had messed up. Luckily, she didn't tear. She didn't tear her Achilles heel, but she had ankle issues. And then one game, she actually got a concussion, and she was 2 weeks behind after that. I mean, she wasn't. So, but she had a really hard time getting over the not to get injured. So it was hard.
Well, and that's one of those things that the majority of athletes, men and women, boys and girls, the majority of them, once they get a real decent injury, I guess I would say, they struggle with that. Once in a while, you'll get that player that's like, you know what, experienced it, it hurt, but it's, you know, I know what it's like, and it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Those are rarities. But the you know, and the thing is, it's that whole, when you fall off a horse, you got to get back on.
Yeah.
But again, it's human nature. You know, if you touch a hot stove, you're not going to go touch it again. So it's kind of that same concept, and very normal. But
I got a first cousin. He just got drafted from the to the Orioles as a pitcher, and you know, he's down in the he'll be, you know, down in the minor, you know, the AA league or whatever.
Yeah,
they might pull him up. To see how he handles under the preseason next year. You know, they'll see how he does. But I tell him, and I got my Jenny's sister. Both her boys are really good basketball. I mean, not basketball, but baseball players. They're both pitchers.
Cool.
And I tell these kids, I said, man, you got to take care of yourself, because, you know, you go through all that and you get to the big leagues and you hurt yourself and you're done, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes, especially a pitcher, you got to be so careful. But Blake Money, that's my first cousin, and he was surprised he got picked from Baltimore. So he's down in Florida. He was down at they're outside of Tampa. What's that, Lake Susiana, or what's that place down there?
I don't know.
But it's been between Tampa and Fort Myers. They live out that way. But
so did he get drafted straight out of high school or after college ball?
He's in college, but I don't think he's finished. That's another thing about, I don't know if he's going to try to finish up here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's another thing also. Of course, you know, ever since he was yay big, you know, that was a dream, and I mean, you know, my aunt and, you know, all the traveling and going places and all that stuff, dude. I mean, they've spent the whole lifetime for this moment. So,
oh yeah.
But
no, it's you know, in whether it be football, baseball, I believe soccer's the same. You know, you get into a good league, there's a lot of travel. It's expensive.
Yeah.
It can pay off. The one thing, if I had it to do over again with my kids, would be both of my boys, but my one son mostly, we played spring or fall football, then spring football. Sometimes we do something during the couple months of winter, and he just got burnt out. And to do it over again, I'd have had him play some soccer to work with his footwork skills, and I would have had him play basketball just to give him a break, and probably baseball too. I did try to get him to sign up for baseball, and he just was not interested.
Yeah.
But and he was playing since he was 5.
Yeah.
And he just, by high school, he just started getting burnt out.
Yeah, that was like I said, that was one of the things with Brianna. You know, by the time that came around and after her injury, I could tell she was burnt out. And it was really actually kind of funny. We have like this after school, or it's a thing. It's called Soccer Shots or whatever. And it's, you know, she was a coach, or she teached, you know, kids, different kids, group ages or whatever. And she really liked that. It's just really too bad they just didn't pay. You know, it was a great summer gig, you know, to do a part-time job type thing. And she liked it because she still got her exercise in, or, you know, still had time with the ball, you know, that type of stuff. But the one coach, the one female coach that she had, I think was really trying to get her into a woman's league. You know, to do after work, you know, on the weekend thing or whatever. But I tell you one thing, man, there was nothing more amazing watching these girls go at each other on the field, dude. It was Brianna, you know, like I said, Brianna is, you know, very nice. I mean, you know, I'm not, you know, just saying because she's my kid, but the manner is, you know, but she got on that field, dude. It was like turning on a light switch, man. It was like, I had to catch myself every once in a while because I would be yelling at her, telling her to change her attitude. You know, of course, that's what she had to have. I mean, it was her game face, you know, and it was so funny once I learned that. And like you said, when you would talk to her or see that, you see that change in her face between, you know, the game face. And it was really amazing watching these girls. And then of course afterwards they're all, you know, all nice and sweet and blah, blah, blah. But man, they were like incredible.
I've seen it. I've seen it coaching girls, you know, nice and
crazy.
sweet. And then on the field, they can get pretty rough.
Yeah. And of course, and like I said, a coach, like a ref would turn and they would literally like grab the back where, like, you know, because I told Brianna something like, I told her to wear her hair up because she had long hair, and her coach had them all wear them down, but they would tie a knot in the bottom of it, because when they would flip their head, they'd take that and smack them with the knot of the hair, you know, in the face. And I'm like, what the F are you doing out there? You know, I'm yelling at her, and they're like, that's the way it is. And like I said, a ref would turn and they literally grab and yank them down on the ground, you know? And I was like, God, you girls play rough, man. That was,
I think all that game face female stuff that you're talking about, that's just early wife training. Because then they learn how to deal with us later on. And
I have no comment because we're still alive, so I'm not getting involved in that.
Remember, I lived in a house full of women too, so
that's dead man walking up the stairs there, man. Well, you're going to take the trash out, Ray, and not come. You just keep on walking on that one, man.
Right. Make sure my shoes are on.
Oh, well, I don't know, guys.
I will tell you this, as far as coaching, I love coaching. I love coaching both the boys and the girls. However, at this age, at middle school age, the girls are easier to coach because they want to learn and they're more mature to get the idea to, number one, pay attention, and number two, ask questions. Boys are so full of machismo. I don't need to ask. I know everything. And you get into a game and you don't know anything. How's that helmet feeling while it's turned backwards on your head, dum-dum? And then boys just, you know, they're smart asses, and they're they can't focus. They're disruptive, man. You know, I remember when I tell the boys, you know, hey, I know what's going through your head. I used to be a boy once. Straighten out, pay attention. And they turn around and be like, you used to be a boy, coach. You're a girl. You know, and this is before the whole trans thing became a big thing. And I'm like, no, dumbass, I'm a man. I used to be a boy. I'm a man. I grew up.
I used to be a boy, now I'm a man. Right. That was my metamorphosis.
And I'm like, and I tell them, hey, I've made the mistakes you've made. I've made, like, even the kid today that got into a fight, somebody one of the kids said, "Your mom's a bitch," and he lost it. And I'm like, "Hey, I've been there, but now you got ejected, and now you're out for the next game too, and you hurt the team and you hurt yourself." And I'm like, "Hey," I said, "Look, I'm not mad. I'm not happy. I'm disappointed, but I'm not mad. But I was that hothead too." And I'm like, on top of that, so you were swinging or you were shoving at him or whatever. I said, if you want to get him back, what better way to get him back? You say, "Coach, hey, let me run the ball next." And you run his ass over and put him on his butt. And I'm like, or if we're on defense, you look for him and you either lay one hell of a hit, a block, or, of course, it's defense. You're looking for the hit and the tackle. But if he's lead blocker, knock him out, with a proper hit. And I said, that'll get him to shut up really quick. But no, you got ejected, you embarrassed your family, and you hurt the team and you hurt yourself. And I told him, I said, "Hey, I'm upset, but I'm not mad at you." I'm like, because I was you. I was the one throwing punches. I was the one, I'm the one yelling at the ref. "Shut up, stupid."
Yeah, that's the thing. It's how actions speak louder than words.
Yeah. And that's what I've told him too. I mean, I've said, "Hey, somebody talking trash out their mouth, it's nothing more than a fart out of the mouth. And a fart from the backside, it's offensive, it stinks, but it's over and done with in a minute." I said, same with what's in the mouth. I said, but when you pop them and knock them down with your shoulder pad, they'll remember that. And I said, and then you do it again and you do it again. They'll remember that. They'll get out of your way. But anyways.
Yep.
I've yet to look at the game film. I know I've got it somewhere. I think I'll take a day or two before I look at the game film because, like Ray said, decompress. I'm actually fairly decompressed now compared to earlier.
Yeah, I bet. Well, hope you guys have all have a good, safe holiday weekend.
Yep, I might be going up to Cedar Key to help out clean up. We got to see.
All right. I'm going to be going into the shop on Saturday to install my new toe tabs.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And I was debating on how to install them. And, there's 4 holes in each bar. And, so if I drill 8 holes in the chassis, it's like, I don't know what kind of access I have to get in there for nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
So I was actually thinking, what if I drilled and tapped the holes? I'm like, oh, but now I'm drilling and tapping the frame horns. That's right. Be fun. So I actually looked online for Lakewood toe tab installation instructions. And I did find one guy put up a picture of the installation instructions, and it literally just says, drill the 8 holes and install the hardware included with the kit. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, I took it out of my toolbox. I took the easy clamp with me. That easy clamp I got from the guy. It's like, that may be the time to use that, if I can to get into the frame rail.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because that frame's boxed, right?
In the front, yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of times there's holes in windows,
Yeah.
So, but would did that bolt all the way through the frame? So you put a nut on the other side, or was that because what if you did a nut insert?
I thought about that, like a nut insert, but that's when you want those big, the big pliers. I only have a handheld one, and that's not, the bolts, the holes are drilled in the toe tabs for 3/8 bolts. So that's, you could use 5/16, but still, that's still bigger than my handheld thing is.
Right. Well,
I did think of that, or I thought of just holding it up and plug welding it.
Yeah. Well, like I said, with the nut inserts, if you that big of a nut insert, all you had to do would be like you take a couple of washers and tighten the bolt up, you can use a bolt to tighten it up, to pull to collapse. That's what we used to do with the big ones on the frames.
Yeah, I don't even have any 3/8 nut certs. I thought about that, and that's why I thought about just tapping it.
What if you do a flange nut and
I do have flange nuts. I have flange nuts and flange bolts, and that's what I was going to use on either side if I have to nut and bolt it.
Yeah.
And the nut and the bolt, well, the good thing is the ones I have that under the flange of the nut and the bolt, it's serrated, so it'll actually act like a lock washer.
Well, what I was thinking is, what if you made a nut cert with a flange nut? In other words, drill big enough, and then the flange part you insert the nut where the flange part is on the outside, and then you put your tacks around there, around the.
Well, that'd have to weld. Yeah, that would be a big hole because the nut is a 3/8 nut. So it's
big.
Okay.
The outside of that nut. I mean, the inside, the threads are like 375. So the outside's got to be a 1/2 inch.
Yeah. Okay.
Eight of those holes. Eesh.
Yeah.
I
would use the handy tool.
I think that's going to be Saturday morning's project. I'll see what I can do with it. If I can get in through the frame, I can usually probably jury rig it somehow. I mean, even if I had 2 bolts on each one, I'm not using this for structural. I'm not going to use it to actually tow the car. So
right.
It just
that's why personal. I mean, I kind of like just the tack weld in there, because then, like I said, all you got to do is do a front and back. You only had to do really 2 of them.
Right.
And then if you ever wanted to remove it, all you got to do is really just kind of, or like I said, even if you did the whole, like rosebud,
rosette,
rose, do 2 of the holes and then do 2 of on the side of it. You know what I'm saying? It'd be easy to remove if you ever had to remove. You're just grinding that part away.
Right. Yeah. I'll know more when I get it up in the air.
Are you guys doing a show on Sunday?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
The following week, we're not, because the 10th is the only car show of the year that I actually attend with my car. It's my friend Billy up in Whitestone. And that was one we took the pictures at the World's Fair for. So I'm gonna be at that show. So we're not gonna do a live show on the 10th.
You've done a live one there, right?
Remote.
We've done remotes from there in the past,
Yeah.
But we won't be this year. So I'll just put up. I'll put up one of the old shows from from there. One of the old remotes. I'll just put one of them up. And and that'll be that. So
you don't want to have Brian fill in for you?
Yeah.
There you go.
Actually, Chris. You know what? I'll put that out to Chris. I'll put that out to him. Yeah, I'll ask him if he wants to have you.
That would be a good show.
I'll ask him. Yeah, maybe he'll do that.
Yeah,
why not?
I'm ready. I'm always ready.
You could talk Audis.
I don't know if Chris is really ready for all that.
I don't know either.
But yeah, no, I'm always willing to fill in. I'm always good for that.
I don't know. Yeah, that's a good. I mean, I know I have no problem working with you. I mean, we did it and we had a great show. I don't know. I can't speak for Chris because I don't know what's what would be in his thought process, but I'll ask him.
Do you need someone there running the board for the radio show and all that? How does that?
Actually, yeah, but there is a girl, Kim, who does a show after me. She's there. She works. She's like
show afterwards. Yeah.
But she actually is in charge of the studio, in charge of the station. She's actually running the operation behind the scenes, so she could do that.
Yeah.
So
that would be cool.
I'll ask. I'll throw it out to him.
Yeah, like I said, I have no problems, Ray. Like I told you, I'm always ready.
Hey, Brian.
What?
Hey, Did you see the post, the Snap-on truck in the group?
This last step is consensual.
After this step, it's consensual. Do you have that on
Yeah,
your
yeah,
truck?
yeah. I saw that.
Yeah, no, no, but we don't worry. A lot of guys feel that way. I mean, afterwards, they wish they read that step because yeah, I got actually I got to really watch myself because here lately I've lost my patience with a few guys because they go out and they get in, they get it on. I mean, I don't know what happens, but they I don't know if the flashing from the chrome gets them all, but they get all tangled up in something and they want to get out of it and they want me to buy them out, and like I said,
is that other guy that's selling his truck?
Chris, yeah, he's actually getting out. He's getting out, but he has he's got 3 tool trucks. I mean,
oh wow.
He started out with the Isuzu, and then he got a 22 footer, maybe. I don't know if it was a 22 or a 24 footer, and that needed some work. And he stumbled across another Freightliner, but it was a 24 footer, but it was an M55, and that's like a walkthrough. It's like a bread truck. And he found one of those that it used to be a Cornwell truck. The guy was only in for a couple of months, and he got a really good deal, so he went and got that truck. And Chris, he's a younger guy, but very motivated, very, very motivated, but he does a lot of drifting. And him and 3 of his buddies stumbled across a old NASCAR track down in Virginia, South Bay Motors or whatever. I can't remember the name of the track, but they bought it, and in 6 months he had it up and he's doing drifting events.
Nice.
And it's what he really loves. He's got 3 or 4 drift cars. He does a lot in that community. And like I said, we've talked many of times. Like I said, I've tried to help him when he needs help. And he just told me, it's what he really loves. It's a little bit less money.
But he's probably happier. He's happy doing it.
But he's doing what he likes to do. He gets to do what he wants to do. And I just, like I said, the track's gone over really well. Last weekend was their grand opening, and they have another event this weekend. Hopefully, like I said, and that's a big up and coming sport, drifting, all that stuff. So
I just drifted an email out to Chris about the 10th. So
okay.
He gets back to me, I'll let you know. We'll see.
Yeah, it's not, like I said, I can be quiet and listen to Chris talk.
I'll just say this: doing a show with somebody as a co-host, it's a lot more dynamic than most people think it is. There's a lot more that goes on. Like I know because I've been doing a show with him for so long, we always had a lot of nonverbal cues between us. Like I can tell, and he can tell when you have to just fill it, when you have to talk or not. I mean, I had no problem doing a show with you. We had no trouble that way. So, but I could see. I mean, I would feel funny doing a show with other people, and I don't know. I can't think of. I'm not naming names. I don't think of. I mean, there's some guys that I know that we've had through our show, that I definitely would never do a show with.
Right.
Without a doubt. That's why, like when I got introduced to him, and he started calling, I realized, like, man, we were clicking right away. I said, this guy is like me, but from another, from just another county. And, we became fast friends. It was like we were so similar. But the problem with that was when we did the show together, we were so similar, like we never disagreed on anything. We always we followed the same diagnostic patterns. We followed the same mechanical patterns. Like we really were very much alike, where Chris and I are very much not alike. And that's what kind of makes it as fun as it is, because we virtually don't agree on anything.
Yeah.
And, if I'm A, he's Z, and if I'm black, he's white. And, on almost anything automotive. So, and that now becomes like, it really becomes a comedy show without even trying.
Yeah.
It's just how to talk.
Yeah. Well, like I said, when you just tell them, well, I know you just threw parts on it instead of trying to figure out what the problem was, what I'm saying? And like I said, we've talked about it before. It's like, dude, at least check it out for,
Joe actually coined the term Swizonomics, where Swizonomics. It's like, when you're gonna fix a car, it's like, well, okay, one oxygen sensor is bad, so I bought 4. Like, what? Like, well, and Chris's logic was, well, if one was bad and it had 90,000 miles on it, and it was 18 years old, the other 3 are just as old with just as many mileages, so they're probably going to go bad too, so I might as well just change them all. And I said, well, there's something to be said for that, but from a diagnostic standpoint,
you don't know what
that's lunacy.
You don't know what was broke.
You don't know what was, if that was, especially when you get into the third part of replacing something at the same time, because I'm just going to replace it. I that drives me crazy when people say that.
I just kind of fell into that this week. Well, it was like last week, I was driving the Mazda Protege. The car's got 120,000 on it, and it runs great. But I just noticed I was at a light, idling, and when I went to take off from the light, the car just gave me a little bit of a stumble. It was like a car if the choke didn't come off all the way yet. It just gave you a little bit of a stumble, and then it went. I was like, that's curious. Shouldn't do that. And then I had it out yesterday morning. I had to go to the chiropractor, make some errands, and then when I took off from a stop sign, it stumbled, and then it was running rough. And I said, okay, how long before the check engine light comes on? Yeah. And sure enough, bink, comes on. I'm like, all right. So my first thought was, it's either a coil or a fuel injector, because electric and fuel mimic each other. They get the same results. So I'm like, what's it going to be? I almost couldn't wait to get home and put the scanner on. And then when I was driving home, it was rough. And then the check engine light started to flash. I was like, oh, this is getting good.
Yeah.
I'm going to have fun. And then a little higher RPM, it kind of cleared up and the check engine light just came on steady. I'm like, all right, it's a coil. It's got to be a coil. So I got a PO 4040. I got a 304 code. So I'm like, okay. And I had done coils on this car a couple of times already in the past. So I went on Amazon and I looked and I said, well, what did I do first? I pulled the coil off. I pulled the plugs out. And number 4 plug had a bigger gap than the other plugs too, which was kind of interesting. So I went on Amazon and they had a set of coils that were highly reviewed as positive, but the pair of coil, it's a waste spark system. So one coil fires 2 plugs, so it'll fire on the exhaust as well as on the on the power stroke. And they had a pair of coils for $28.
What?
Like, wow! I paid at least $50 for a coil in the past. So I said, you know what? These things got great reviews down the road, down the line here. I said, so I got that and a new set of NGK plugs. I said, all right, let's see what happens. So they were supposed to both come today. The plugs came, but the coils didn't. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to replace the one coil that services 1 and 4. It's interesting that, it services 1 and 4, but it only gave me a 304 code. I would have expected like a 301 and a 304 because.
Right.
But But
that's what happened to Molly's car when she dropped it off when she went to London. She dropped her off her Volkswagen, and it had a coolant leak.
Right.
And I pressure tested, and I played around with it, and I couldn't. It never leaked any coolant. I did it cold, did it hot, drove the car around, and I went out to my buddy's shop to do an oil change, and just look over the car, do the dad thing,
Right.
check the brakes, blah, blah, go through. And she had pulled up too far on a curb or whatever. And she bent the plastic, undercover, the liner, she bent it to the point where it would drag on the ground every once in a while, so we had to trim, I trimmed that up and everything. But it was so funny was I'm driving the car over to my buddy's shop, and it's about 20 minutes away. Well, I almost get there, and I got that little miss, that little stumble,
Yeah.
And the check engine light comes and goes, and then all of a sudden, I had a 305 because it's a 5-cylinder.
Yeah.
It was number 5 was dead, So of course it was late, and when I was at my buddy's shop, he's like, "Well, I got some good used ones over here.
Oh, good.
We'll put them in." And so we get it in there, cleared it out, changed the oil, and started up, and it's running. And once it got to operating temperature, here's number 1, and I'm like, oh my God. So then he had 3 coils, and it's a 5-cylinder, but we had 3 coils. So we put 1 and 5 in, and then number 3 went out.
Oh shit.
And I'm like, this is like crazy.
Yeah.
And
like flies.
So we got the car running. I drove it around a little bit, and I stopped back at the shop, and I said, everything seems okay. By this time it's like, 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and I said, I'm just going to get home. And I got all the way home, and the thing started missing again.
Oh, jeez.
And so I get my little scanner out, and sure enough, it's number 4. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. So I've
heard of that happening where coils drop after ones were changed. I've heard of that.
And I just figured they all looked like original coils.
Yeah.
And it's a 2008. It's got 110,000 miles on it. And I know the plugs had been changed because they were in. I don't know. I need to talk to the Volkswagen guy, because I would have thought they were Bosch plugs in it, but they were NGKs.
Yeah, I have NGKs in this car too.
And so I went online, found a set of coils and plugs for like $68.
Yeah, you're right in my zone. I paid,
and I was like, that's for all 5. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like,
$42. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, dude, send them out.
Right.
And they came.
I wonder if we came brand coils.
I don't know what they were, but they had good reviews, and they said that they called them like, I don't want to use the word OptiSpark, but they said they were 20% stronger, or 20% more stronger spark than OEs.
Take a good look at the wires too, because years ago with this car,
there's no wires.
Oh, it's just coil unplugged.
Yeah, coil unplugged.
Okay, because I had a problem. Well, I have 2 of them. The plug comes right out of the coil, and then there's 2 plug wires. But it was one of the coil unplugged terminals that was I picked up a whitish coating where it actually arced through the insulator of the boot into the cylinder head, and that's what took out the coil, because it was arcing to ground. But what I'm going to do is I'm only going to put one coil in. I'm going to put in the one that services 1 and 4. I'm going to leave the other, and I'm going to see
if if the other one creeps up on you.
Yeah.
Or goes.
Yeah.
But it was crazy because Pete had called me the next morning, and he's like, did everything happen? I said, dude, you'd never believe it, but I got home and it was missing. And he goes, no way. He goes, well, I think I have some more coils here. And I said, dude, I'm just going to put new ones in and
give him his old ones back.
Yeah, I said the old ones, you can just use because they use them for testing. I mean, that's
right.
And but it was I just like I said, I'd never seen.
I know.
It was just so weird, and the one thing I could think of is this: that it was just time-wise, with the age and, like you said, the plugs didn't look too bad. They were slightly. I think they had been changed once before but that's the only other problem with this because like those plugs, are like 120,000 mile plugs or 150,000. They don't change them. They I can't remember what the mileage thing is on them, but they don't because
they have to be iridiums, I guess.
Yeah, they're like it's iridium. That's what I was going to say. Yeah. They're iridiums.
Yeah, it's cool. So basically, after all that, that's when you straighten out the AC vents.
Yeah. Well, the funny part was I'd straighten out the next day. Well, I mean, I drove a couple days. I mean, I drove and she came back Saturday. They came back Saturday. So Sunday she came out to pick the car up, and I told her what had happened. She goes, well, that's kind of weird. And I was like, who knows, but I, did the oil change, put gas in it. Your brakes look good, tires, blah, blah, blah. And she got in and
brakes are good, tires fair.
Yeah. Well, the tires were pretty new still and whatever. But she gets in the car and she goes, why did you mess with my vents? And I was like, why do you have them pointing all over the place? I said,
look,
I
changed the seat position too. Is that okay?
Yeah. Well, luckily Molly's very tall, so I didn't have to. She, like I said, she's very tall, so the seats didn't bother. But she's like, why did you mess with my vents?
Yeah. Don't be screwing my vents, Dad.
But she had them all turning different directions and had one turned off and one turned. I was like, what the, because for me, it drives me crazy because you hear that when the air's blowing through the vent, it has a different sound, it
does
the sound, and it drives me because I'm like, what's that noise? Why is the thing, it's like having that's why I used to like when the cabin air filters, somebody will say something about, I don't have enough air, or it doesn't sound right, and the cabin air filter has never been changed. You take that out and it changes instantly.
Yeah.
Or it's not cold anymore. That's another one I like. It's not as cold.
Right.
And I need to do an AC service, and I was like, you change your cabin air filter.
Yeah.
And they're like, what's that?
Right.
There's all kinds. There's like Emma's Hyundai, they had eaten through and filled up the squirrel cage.
Oh wow.
So there was, so I remember the first time we turned that on, it sounded like, it had a muffler like, I'm like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And when I pulled the cabin air filter out, you can see where the ate through. Right. So then I had to get the shop vac out, and I'm like sucking up everything through it to get it cleaned out.
Crazy.
So
we pulled the cabin air filter off of my brother's Scion because of that hole. He goes, it's barely blowing, something's wrong, and it's and I didn't realize it had the cabin air filter. We went and got a module.
Yeah.
And, the speed module. And anyways, he said that it was blowing cool but not cold, and I crawl under there to start looking at changing the module, and I'm like, hey, what's this door? I think you got a cabin air filter. And pull it out, and it's just caked with not just dust, but I think there was cactus peat like spikes in it. I'm like, geez.
It looks like boll weevils, and I found some gnarly stuff inside cabin air filters.
Yeah.
It's as soon as we took it out, it's blowing nice and hard and ice cold.
Right.
Yeah. The tool truck's got like a screen.
Oh, okay.
So I can wash. I mean, you just put it on your sink, and it's not actually a filter.
Right.
Yeah, but that's almost better. I mean, it depends on where you live too, but that's almost better.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
all right, guys.
I'm gonna go open the screen and take out the garbage. So good. So yeah, have a good weekend. Good Memorial Day. Fucking
Labor.
I want to start from scratch again. Yeah, Labor Day. And and we'll talk and share our escapades as they happen. All right.
All right, guys.
Hi, guys.
Good luck with the cleanup, Keith. That's a great cause.
Yeah, we did it last time. I'm gonna be doing it again probably. So
very good. Isaac, stay out of trouble. Be calm.
Be calm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
guys.
Right,
hey, I am calm. I'm calm.
Right.
You just see me wound.
Talk to you soon, guys. All right.
All right.